Or red meat, John?
The breasts! The breasts!
Oh, those.
Unsportsmanlike conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
A light wintry mix possible Tuesday morning. Watch out for slick spots during the AM drive. Otherwise, expect areas of fog throughout the day. Cloudy with highs in the low to mid-30s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center, an injury crash has been reported on Maplewood Boulevard at Parkview Drive near Dodge Elementary School. If you're heading in this direction, do watch out for that and expect delays. No other accidents or slow-moving traffic to report as we get into the 6 o'clock hour here on this Tuesday morning. Still slick in some areas from the melting snow. Please be safe and wear those seatbelts. I'm Peter Krenzer.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
If you have a large amount of gold or precious metals and want the best price with no waiting, Saul's makes it easy and fast. Any amount of gold, silver, or jewelry, no limit, immediate payment. Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Hi, I'm Mike Ham with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. The Tennessee Titans have hired Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan as their head coach. The 39-year-old has been the Cincinnati offensive coordinator since the 2019 season. Meanwhile, the Eagles finished their season losing 6 of their final 7 games, but Nick Sirianni's job appears to be secure. NFL Network insider Mike Garafolo reporting that Sirianni, along with general manager Howard Roseman, will meet with the media on Wednesday. The Eagles, though, they did make one change, firing defensive coordinator Sean Desai after just 1 season. Elsewhere, the Bears are hiring Shane Waldron as their new offensive coordinator, according to NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero. And the 49ers, their head coach Kyle Shanahan said on Monday that wide receiver Deebo Samuel's shoulder is not broken, but his status for Sunday's NFC Championship game is still uncertain. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Jackson Hewitt has a plan to get your tax refund fast. With a buck here, buck there. Here a buck, there a buck, everywhere a buck.
You don't have to wait weeks for your tax refund. Get money sooner with a no-fee refund advance loan at Jackson Hewitt.
On this loan, there's a money today guarantee. E-I-E-I-O.
Don't settle for chicken feed. Get fast bucks at Jackson Hewitt today. No-fee refund advance loans by Republic Bank offered to eligible clients. Money today guarantee if approved for a loan on a prepaid card. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
It's the most time-honored tradition to start the weekend, grabbing a cold one from a local Nebraska brewery. Let's be real here. It's cold outside, and you don't want to drink the same boring beer as those Hawkeye fans. Drink Nebraska brewed beer, cider, or seltzers instead. Each week, we're putting the spotlight on a unique Nebraska brewery with One Beer Friday. Share your brew on social media with the hashtag OneBeerFriday, and you'll be entered to win a $25 gift card to a local Nebraska brewery. Nebraska is the good life with great beer. Click nebraska.beer to learn more.
Woodhouse Hyundai offers a streamlined car buying experience tailored to you. With the most versatile lineup of sedans and SUVs like the Hyundai Elantra or Santa Fe. Plus, your choice of standard engines, plug-in hybrid, or fully electric vehicles. Browse our current offers and save up to $12,000 off the 2024 Hyundai Ioniq 5 Limited. And when you shop Woodhouse Hyundai, you can rest easy with Hyundai Shopper Assurance, America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Start your deal online at woodhousehyundai.com today. Browse our inventory, personalize your payments, apply for financing, and more. Convenience delivered every time. This is Woodhouse Hyundai. With approved credit, tax, title, license extra. Must finance with Hyundai Financial and own competitive model. $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires January 31st, 2024. See dealer for details.
This is a sale so hot, Standard Heating and Air can only do it once a year. Right now, buy a Carrier air conditioner from Standard Heating and Air and get a free furnace. Now that's a hot deal.
StandardAC.com, where we do the things we do.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's got to be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
If you're having problems in the bedroom, talking about it is the last thing you want to do. Same goes for hair loss, anxiety, or even depression. That's where HIMS comes in. Through HIMS, you don't have to talk about it. You can do something about it. Just go to hims.com/start, where you can find a variety of potential solutions for the problems men face every day and save up to 95% on generic alternatives. The entire process is 100% online, making it incredibly simple, straightforward, and above all, private. If prescribed, treatments made using clinically proven ingredients are shipped directly to your door in low-key packaging. So if you're experiencing ED, hair loss, anxiety, or problems with your general health, you don't have to go to the doctor, the pharmacy, or spend all day talking about it. Just go to hims.com/start and do something about it. Get started today at hims.com/start. That's HIMS.com/START.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
Join me, Jimmy Allen, for the Creighton Athletics Hour. We'll be talking all things Blue Jays and interviewing your favorite coaches, so you don't want to miss it. It's the Creighton Athletics Hour, Thursdays, starting at 6 o'clock, only on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and your 1620 The Zone mobile app.
1620 The Zone.
You have to stay in your lanes. You have to stay disciplined with any quarterback that runs. Lamar is special. He's he's fast and one of the faster guys on the field when it's all said and done. And he's shifty. Where Josh he'll go right through you. He doesn't care. He's a big man, and probably equally as fast. I mean, he's a fast kid. He's run away from secondary players. We've seen that on tape.
We're excited about it. We're looking forward to it. It's a huge challenge. Playing a great football team, very talented, very well coached, know how to win. They've been in these situations many times. I think they've been in the championship game. Maybe this is their 6th time in a row. So they've been here before. It'll be a big challenge for us. It's our first time with this team and these guys, but we're up for the challenge and we're excited. Everybody that watches football knows it. That's just it's one of his gifts, So we're going to have to really study it, be good at defending it. I do like our guys' chances. We've got a lot of really good athletes, a lot of guys who play hard. So we'll just try to make it as hard on him as we can.
Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
Hey guys, great to see you.
Hey, Matt Rule. Good Tuesday morning. How come your team is not working out?
See,
you realize what Iowa's doing? Do you realize what Ohio State is doing? You guys realize what happened last night in the NBA?
I didn't know there was NBA last night.
There's a lot of points last night.
Yeah, sometimes the NBA looks like the Summit League, so defense is optional. But how about the connection last night in the NBA? Last night was a good ball night. Tonight's a double dose of local ball night. But you had Embiid who goes for 70 and was just absolutely dominant.
Embarrassing defense or lack of.
Jimmy, they're the Spurs. What do you expect them to do? I mean, they're not like the Charlotte Hornets that had 62 dropped on them, and they still found a way to beat the T-Pups.
Yeah.
But Embiid gets 70 and is just completely dominating the Spurs. On the
Where's Lane Beer when you need him?
It's only 2 threes.
the game after, the game right after the morning where Popovich jokingly said that what they were going to do against Embiid. He's on a heater, man. He is averaging more points per minute than Wilt did in the year that he averaged 50. Like, Embiid is fun to watch. Like, he just, you look at the guys that are the best of the best in the NBA right now, and they're, nobody's like 6'4", 6'5". They're all like the size of Jokic and Embiid and Durant and what they're doing. And then you have Karl Anthony Towns, which, again, last night is like the epitome at the Target Center of what it's like to be a Minnesota fan, even though today could be a huge day. Because my guy Joe, I think, is going to get the call to go into the hall. Yeah. But Karl Anthony Towns, who is a unicorn, would you guys agree?
Yes.
Hey, there's a lot of things that he can do, but he's very, very puzzling because you're like, man, shouldn't Karl Anthony Towns in the NBA be a lot better? So last night, he puts up 62, but
44 in the first half.
He also turned the ball over 7 times, and his plus-minus was 0. And because he's so wild and flailing, he doesn't get the call at the end of the game. And they lost. That is the Minnesota sports fan last night. Cat put up 62.
And you lose.
To
the Hornets.
Yeah, to a team that had won 9 games.
Yeah, to a bad team.
But that was pretty cool. Because yesterday was the 18th year anniversary of when Kobe put up 81. And I thought that Embiid was going to chase it. And then it got to be because I flipped over, we get the Timberwolves games here, along with the Oklahoma City Thunder games, but we don't get the Nuggets games here. I'm watching that, and I'm thinking, okay, if you're a Timberwolf fan, would you rather have Cat score 70 or win? I'm thinking people are like, we're going to get this game in the bag.
Always win.
And they got beat last night. That was wild. That's the Minnesota sports experience all wrapped up into the fourth quarter of that game.
Chris Finch was pissed. And
I like that message afterwards, too, where he's talking about how that was like just an absolute dumpster fire disaster. And just because a guy's on a heater, all of a sudden you're getting out of, your offensive concepts and everything. Like that was a pretty strong message in what is typically in the pro level, very, very player friendly. You're going to support your guys and
bring back the handshakes.
I think more than anything, it was probably the fact that they lost, of who they lost to, not the fact that they lost, but who they lost to.
You know what? The NBA is, those guys are unbelievable. I watched a lot of games. I watched a lot of basketball last night. I stayed up to watch my Beam team beat Atlanta without Trae Young, where the defense was optional in that game. And we got to make a trade. I got to get on the phone. I got to call Mike Brown. But Durant had 43 last night. But you watch college games, and the KU Cincinnati game was a little bit choppy.
Yeah.
And you watch like DeJuan Harris can't hit a shot. And then you go and you watch the NBA like in the next minute. I'm like, God, those guys that play in the association are so damn good. I mean,
even the bad teams.
They don't miss. I mean, the separation between college and pro, except for those elite guys that can walk in the door and be in a starting 5, that gap is huge. Those guys in the league, man, every single night I go, wow. Just with ease. Guys are making, 25-foot jump shots. They're driving to the basket, Euro stepping underneath, dunking. It's defense optional in the NBA. Yeah. Man, the talent in the NBA right now is through the roof. And last night you had 2 big guys that, tried to set a record. That would have been cool if they would have got to 80. Not get to 81 on the anniversary, but to get to 80.
Yeah, it was probably fair to make the comparing and contrasting styles of what you see at the college level to the NBA level. Because you're right, effortless would be a great way to put it, especially if you're watching Joel Embiid and how he did that with only 2 3-point attempts. Knocked down 1 3-pointer, and then I think, 21 free throws. Everything just mid-range, getting underneath, just a very smooth, very calculated game. And then you mentioned the one guy that, if you're a Kansas fan, I don't know what your overall confidence level is when you're watching DeJuan Harris. Because, there's a guy that's part of the national championship team 2 years ago, was an integral part of that too, and a facilitator, and had some big shots in that game against North Carolina. But I'm watching that game last night, and Cincinnati has a little bit more length than what you're maybe going to see night in and night out at the guard position. But man, he just gets into the black hole. Like he'll get that.
He can't shoot right now.
Well, can't shoot, and then even trying to finish too. There was a few times I don't know if he's anticipating contact, but didn't even draw iron. Just clank right off the backboard.
Yeah, and it's too bad because KU needs him.
They
didn't
do.
Get anything.
They absolutely do.
Hunter Dickinson last night. Well, they got Johnny Furphy.
And his family was there for the first time.
Jimmy, is Furphy 17 years old? Did I hear that correctly?
I don't. He looks 17.
He looks like he's 12.
Yeah.
Well, now, correct me if I'm wrong. Svi Mikhailuk was also very young when he started. I think he was like 17.
Those international guys.
Yeah.
Before 9/11, man, you had no idea how old they were. And then everybody got exposed on 9/11.
Yeah.
They start checking birth certificates.
We had to document all that stuff.
I mean, Julio Franco's 77 years old. He can still play.
Aroldis Chapman, how old are you? But I know, you got a win. They had a win last night because they didn't get much from Dickinson. They got a double from Furphy.
That'd have been a great game 25 years ago.
Kenyon Martin.
Yeah.
Going at it. KU still can't rebound. That's a mystery with that team.
Yep.
But they're still a 2 or 3 line team.
Yep.
With Omaha out of a conference, out of the Big 12. Yeah, that would be.
No fear, they'll still be here.
Hey, how
take
much
over
of,
the
how,
mat.
How much of a letdown would that be if KU didn't? KU like fell apart and they weren't coming to Omaha.
There's a greater chance of me being the next voice of KU by the end of this season than there is of them not being in Omaha. So,
Ooh, put that on the board.
I like.
Wait a minute, that actually is a bet that benefits you. Like if KU doesn't make it, because you're set.
Yeah.
But
if they do, they're right here. They're right here in your
town.
town.
Do you not understand the game?
Yeah, I win either way. I like this game.
I get that's an emotional hedge. I like that.
Welcome in, everybody. It's a Tuesday morning, the 23rd of January. Later today, the Hall of Fame will make some phone calls. I think they'll make 3 phone calls to Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, and Todd Helton. I think that Billy Wagner and Gary Sheffield will come up short today. You're shaking your head, Jimmy.
They should all be in. They were great. Love me some Gary Sheffield. You know how I feel about Billy Wagner.
How many people tried to emulate the Gary Sheffield swing growing up too? And you realize, wow, I'm not that strong, or I don't have that quick of hands.
Or to be diminutive, throw left-handed, and like, man, I can throw as hard as Billy Wagner did.
Yep.
Then you do it on the pitch machine. 48. Damn.
48's pretty good if you're not left-handed either.
Could have a record-setting day. I mean, Beltre is trending like through the roof on almost every ballot. Now, he won't be anonymous because there's 2 that have made their ballot public, and he's not on it, which is, there was a stretch where he was the best third baseman in baseball. Once he left the Dodgers, his career took off, but it's Hall of Fame day. It also, as I mentioned, welcome into Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy. It is a double dose of local hoops tonight. We got Nebraska at 6. They got The Ohio State University. And then
with the voice of Peacock.
And then it's 7:30. That's why you should go to the game.
I
6 o'clock game.
Had every plans of going, tickets and everything. Going to go with a couple buddies, and then kid gets sick. It's all about most likely, unless there's a turn for the better. I'll be watching that at home today.
I'll be there.
Whiskey.
People want to meet up before the game? DM me. Let's go. Let's get after it. I think I'll be in Lincoln early today.
Warm day for you. Hang out in the rail yard. 35 degrees.
Yeah. Well, and the students are back.
Hey.
Finally, they went back to school at Nebraska. So that portion of the building should be pretty loud. And then downtown tonight at 7:30, Creighton is back home for a 3-game homestand, actually a 2-game homestand, and then on Saturday on Pink Out Night against a team that's pretending to be a team out of the Big East without a head coach.
Yeah.
When DePaul comes to town, but they take on the Musketeers. Sean Miller will be here for Xavier. Both teams are favored tonight. Nebraska is a 2.5-point favorite on FanDuel. Use the promo code TheZone. And then Creighton is a 8.5-point favorite in their game tonight.
The Nebraska one, I even saw the power index as well, which is mightily in favor of Nebraska in this one too.
Make me nervous.
That'll be a tension convention. People won't be leaving early from Pinnacle Bank Arena. Plus, the game starts early. I mean, your babysitter doesn't need to be home till 10. Okay, you live in Lincoln, you live in Omaha, you can get back home, you can take the babysitter home. I get it. All right, don't be leaving early. That game will, the under 4 media timeout, that will still be a game. Now, the game downtown, that game's going to be high scoring. You have to have you'll be like whiplash.
That's
like
good.
Watching the Muskies and the Jays play. But they need to, you know what they really do? One thing they need to do for the basketball fans, whether you root for the blue or you root for the red, is they need to sync up the schedules better. Like, we don't need them playing on the same night. We don't need them playing about the same time.
Yeah, second week in a row now.
Yeah, we
spread it out.
Yeah, we need to spread it out so we can have enjoyment. Like, Creighton, just say, hey, we'll play on Wednesday. Nebraska goes. You got Omaha on Thursday.
Perfect.
I mean, the scheduling gods out there, can you do us a favor? Because I would think about doing the doubleheader, but I don't think I'm gonna make it back from
That's
Lincoln.
good. That'd be tough. That's especially if you don't have the luxury of being able to leave the game in Lincoln early. Because I'm with you. I think that one is going to be very, very tight. Very, very tight. And so if it was maybe reversed and you had Creighton early, if there's a game that maybe has a chance to,
like Creighton DePaul tonight at 6.
well, that
Stay
would,
for an hour.
that would be
They're
amazing.
up by
yeah.
30 and get over to Lincoln.
Be honest. If you're watching Creighton DePaul, wear your pink on Saturday. Once they throw the ball in the air on tip-off, that game's over.
Yep.
Okay, grab a couple of cocktails.
We're going to that game on Saturday. That'll
Don't
be
jinx
fun.
it.
It'll be fun. It'll be.
You're gonna say you're going to a lot of games. What gets in the way?
Don't jinx
a
it.
3-year-old.
You're going to get
3-year-old who has health issues is what gets in the way. Gary,
avoid the clap.
Yeah,
you got parents.
Hey, I went to a playoff game with 104-degree fever once. He can do it too.
Whoa.
The Jumbotron was moving, but I was there.
You're probably a little bit older than a 3-year-old, but
yeah, I was 13.
I get the point.
Yeah,
I get the point, Jimmy.
Dad said, "Stay home from school. We need you for the game tonight. We're down 1 game tonight."
Yeah.
So you know what?
We're definitely going Saturday. He better be good to go on Saturday.
Are you gonna paint the kid pink?
He's not going to the game.
Oh, wait a minute.
The in-laws the in-laws are going to watch on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
In-laws are watching Saturday. They're heading to Arizona like in a few days after, so they want to be able to have their quality grandson time.
All right.
And so yes,
stay out an extra hour.
You have a fear of kidnapping?
What's that?
You have a fear of kidnapping?
No.
You ever have that fear with your parents, your in-laws? They're going to steal the kid?
No.
Anybody ever have that feeling?
I think I told you guys about this when I was
trying to steal your kid once.
No, when I was growing up,
that'd be kind of a storyline.
We had a girl in my elementary school that faked a kidnapping.
Ooh,
yeah. She disappeared for a few days and said she got abducted, and then we found out that it was a hoax. But for those 2 days, like we were all like living in terror.
It's like fire in the sky.
That's not good.
Yeah, we thought like there was a kidnapper.
I mean, we were all younger. We tried to run away from home for like 10 minutes or so.
Right.
And then realized that life on the other side wasn't so good. Or when you threaten to run away from home, your mom goes and packs a bag for you and is like, hey, good luck.
Go ahead.
I'm
We'll see you later then.
Like,
wait a minute.
This ain't going so well.
Yeah, this isn't what's supposed to happen.
There's a 20.
No. She packed a bag, no food. She said, thanks. I walked outside to the driveway and I was like, maybe this isn't a wise decision.
Parents are like, finally, some alone time.
So 9-year-old Gary came back in the house. And I was like, I'm hungry.
Well, I thought you were gone.
She's like, hey, welcome back.
I had safety patrol those 2 days too. I was very scared.
Now I
was very scared.
That's a little.
Just telling you. So at that point in my life, I think all of us had like a fear of being kidnapped. As a parent, we trust what we do. I guess we trust ourselves as much as we can.
That was a taboo topic in Des Moines because when I was a little kid, we had the 2 newspaper carriers that were kidnapped and have never been found. Johnny Gosch and Eugene Martin.
That I remember just anytime you heard of that when you were of the age, it just freaked you out. And your parents would do a great job of like trying to calm you down and talk about how,
when the ding ding man comes into the neighborhood, don't, just buy the ice cream. Don't get into the ice cream truck.
Well, that's a very, very good rule of thumb there. I think that's a good parenting advice right there.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go in groups. Everything was, you go in groups. That was a scary time. And especially like where it actually happened in your area. Yeah.
The Johnny Gosch one was in a nice neighborhood in West Des Moines. I think Eugene Martin got kidnapped. I think he was in Clive.
Was that in the 80s?
It was mid-80s.
Yeah,
or early 80s, I think.
Because I believe we all heard about that too. Because I would have been like 6 or 7. And again, that's the age when you hear about stuff like that. You're like,
it was not good. I mean, that just dominated the news coverage, and you didn't go out. I mean, on your own, you didn't play. I remember like for weeks we would not go out in the street because we always went out in the street and played games, like played baseball or football or whatever. Yeah, you wouldn't go out. And any car that would, like a car that was not recognizable that would drive down your street.
Yes,
everybody would like they'd be standing in their their bay window in their living room, like looking out.
Yeah,
what's your business? What are you selling?
Heaven forbid you're trying to deliver a pizza and you're trying to find the right address to the house, and as you're going slow to each house, people are like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on with that car right there? Someone's about to do something really, really bad." And it's like, actually, they just don't know where they're at.
Yeah, people on edge.
This is why when the short sleeve people with the tie would come knocking on the door, turn the TV down. I don't care if Plinko's on right now. You can watch it.
You mean you're not supposed to let them in?
Don't answer. No one's home.
I learned my lesson. So my younger brother is adopted. And if you've ever gone through the adoption process, it's a pretty lengthy process. And you're interviewed, and they interview you separately from your parents. Well, they came to the door one day, and I wouldn't let them in the house because I didn't know who they were.
Good job.
Now, like my dad was in the backyard, like mowing the backyard.
I'd be
But I
pretty
was
proud
like-
of you on
like,
that.
no, yeah.
I should be proud of you on that, though.
I need 4 forms of
I mean, if
identification.
ever in doubt on something like that, err on the side of caution there.
Yeah.
I feel like you did the right thing there.
Yeah, because I learned my lesson because a lady came to our garage
the
sale one
garage
time,
sale.
and I let her go to the bathroom in our house, and then she just hung out in the house. I'm like, how do we get rid of her, Mom? Oh, I'll get rid of her.
I've always
Barb
said,
walked
though,
in and bam, you in a guts to go situation, Matilda.
anytime it's brought up, though, I'll always say, if you're in Fremont and you shoot away the Jehovah's Witness, you might have shoot away the singer of Imagine Dragons because he was doing his mission work in Fremont.
It happens. Now you got to put up with Fremont Fred and a potential casino and racetrack.
Yeah.
So yesterday, I spent a lot of time on TikTok.
Yeah, boy.
If you didn't know, if you are on TikTok, the Nebraska volleyball team is back.
They're back in classes, and they're back doing a lot of good content on
Lexi
TikTok.
Rodriguez has a new tattoo.
Oh.
Like it shows up on my algorithm like a lot.
Yeah, Nebraska. Makes
So
sense.
and they're fun, but they're back. So one's got a new apartment.
Nice.
They like lattes.
Expensive.
Yeah, I've noticed that with Lexi Rodriguez.
But I also
a lot of her
realized
posts.
yesterday that, we always talk about what we do during games and watching games at home where you pace or you yell at the TV or whatever you do, or when your team's winning, you like get right up to the screen thinking that the players on the field
They
can
can hear
see
you.
you.
Yeah, they can hear you.
So I'm watching TikTok yesterday, and it's just full of Chiefs and Bills reactions. Like the Chiefs reaction, of course, considerably different than the Bills. So I didn't focus on the Chiefs reaction. I wanted to watch a lot of the Bills.
Oh,
We Americans that are sports fans,
You're such a jerk.
Are all
you want to bask in it.
Are all.
I mean,
well,
I
that
would.
so it was.
I do that anytime.
was-
Anytime the Packers lose a big game, I always do the same thing.
I was always watching just the Bills reactions.
Yeah.
Or there was a ton of people that were around where Jason Kelsey was.
Yeah,
Like you see what you
that
see-
was actually really, really cool. With the two little girls.
Yeah,
that was really neat.
and he showed the nip.
He did. It was cold. Yeah, it was. Yeah, but that I was.
No, he said so. It was Joe Long that texted him when he saw him on TV, and he said, "Hey, 10 out of 10, you showed the nip." And he was like, "It's hot in that box." That was the response from Jason Kelsey. So that was, but everybody had different views of him. Like he'd multiple times jumped out of the
came out of
to
the
come into
suite,
the stands.
opened up the hopped over the little ledge there, and then the really cool thing was being able. He took the picture with the little girl, then the one girl got to show the sign to Taylor, and you can hear him say, "Hey, we're going to show Taylor the sign real quick," and that was pretty neat. You could tell I just like made her night. And
Andy Reid's wife took a picture with shirtless Jason Kelsey.
That's even better.
everybody wants to, like, he's like the new mascot now.
He is, and I don't think he's retired. That's him. You remember remember when the Eagles won the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
and his outfit and his speech.
I remember the outfit. I'm trying to remember the speech.
Oh, it was. Can't air it on the radio.
Well, yeah, I remember being some profanity, but was there a hint that he would not be done yet?
No, this was when they last won the Super Bowl.
Right.
So it's been a while.
I remember this.
Yeah.
Well, I thought Travis said last
he's
week.
bigger now.
Travis said last week though that he didn't feel like he was done yet.
Oh, people are
Talking
like, "Hey
about
man,
partying.
that looks like a guy that's living his best life, ready to retire." I'm
Well,
like,
that was
no, that's Jason Kelsey.
I loved hearing the Bills fans saying, "Come play for us" during all those moments last
He
Sunday
loves
night.
Buffalo. He was tweeting about it yesterday.
They're all saying, "Hey, Jason, you're awesome, man. Come play for us."
So I had that, and then all the Bills reactions, and it's a different like age group. Like there were some, you could tell like the diehard Bills fans. There was one lady that was dressed head to toe in Josh Allen gear. I feel bad for her. I wonder if she's ever met Phillip Rivers, because I think they are the same person. But she was like,
Josh
"F Mahomes,
needs to get to work,
F
though.
you whiny," all of that, and I'm enjoying all of this. But I am thinking as I watch their anguish, because I got another one where it was an older guy that I think it was probably his daughter was filming him, and this guy must be. I mean, this guy's gone through the gamut of the Bills in the 90s.
Wasn't the guy crying? Was it?
No, but this guy was like beside himself. But I just realized that we are all the same in our sports fandom, that we swear, we yell at the TV, we walk around, we clap our hands, We pace. I mean, we yell at the TV thinking that the players can hear us. I mean, that sports is so great. But I also thought there is no way in heck I would allow anybody to film me while I'm watching one of my teams play. I would not want. I would not have wanted me being filmed while I was watching that game.
No,
whether the Chiefs won or lost, I just don't want to. Now, profanity, all that stuff, but I have some weird quirks when I'm watching a game in my house of my team that I don't want to be filmed.
You like Leo Mazzoni and you just rock back and forth the whole game?
I
wouldn't judge.
If you film me, like so this happened once where Jenny did this to me, and I had no idea she was doing it. But we were at a friend's house, and two of the guys were big UNO hockey fans. They're playing Nodak. This is when Gensel was still playing in Omaha, and I remember he had a overtime game winner. Somehow she captured like our reaction of like the final, like basically the final rush to the goal and the eventual game-winning goal in overtime. And so it was kind of funny and it was kind of cool. I'm okay if you do it when I'm at someone else's house. That's fine because I'm completely different when it's in the comfort of my own home. Like I'm a lot more pacing. I'm punching the couch a lot on like frustrating moments. I don't want anybody to really see that part of it. I would, be like, no. That needs to be erased. No. But if I'm somewhere else and someone gets it, I'm fair game. If I'm outside of my house, I'm outside my buffer zone, I get filmed. I'm definitely not as I'm not as
good or bad. I don't want to be filmed.
I'm not as amped or probably nearly as quirky as I would be at home though, with all my little nervous ticks watching my teams play.
See, I think I get more nervous watching at home than I do in attendance.
100%.
Like I go to a Chiefs game or like tonight.
Well, you had distractions when you're there, when you're at the
I think
the
you're
game.
around people that are feeling the same way.
Right.
Plus it's a little bit tough where I sit where you can just get up and start pacing and start clapping. I mean, people are going to be calling one of the Yellow Jackets and they're going to be like, "Hey, there's a guy in 214 needs to go. He's walking back and forth. He's talking to himself. He's clapping. He's doing this."
The emergency text will go out about you.
I do that.
Or you meet someone doing the same thing and the two of you are just pacing.
You're tapping a can of chew?
That's
you tap a can of chew?
So when I get rolling, I do that. So, I thought I would win an award at the Iowa State Fair for doing that one time. I'd have like a song.
That's how you'd learn to tap. Yeah. Tap a can of chew. Yeah. Packing it. Good job, man.
I chewed once. I swallowed it. Didn't know you weren't not supposed to swallow it. And that was the end of my chewing days.
Sandlot taught us that.
Yeah. I went to a baseball camp and they were like, hey, you should try this. You should try this. And I'm like, okay, what do I do with it? And they're like, well,
you chew it.
I'm like,
how old were you?
I was 9.
Checks out.
Yeah.
About that age.
Yeah.
Good for you.
No, not good.
9 years old and already going with the hard stuff.
Ooh. Yeah, that did not go down so well.
Smells
good. Boy,
good.
It came up smooth.
I was 14 with Kodiak, and I didn't even gut it, but just the first buzz you ever have from chewing tobacco, it got the better of me.
All right, coming up on the show, Sam McEwen will stop by in about an hour from the World Herald. Also, Brian Christopherson. So we'll talk a lot of Husker football and basketball tonight. Again, Nebraska plays at 6. They're a 2.5-point favorite over the Ohio State University. And Creighton plays at 7:30. Jimmy, got a pregame show tonight?
We do at 6:00.
For what, like 10 minutes?
Yeah, my kind of pregame show. We're going to play basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Points will be scored.
7:30 tip tonight downtown.
6 to 7.
No, 1 hour. It's perfect.
6 to 7 pregame. There you go. Nice and tight.
Jays and the Muskies playing. Creighton is an 8.5-point favorite tonight. Back home shortly after their triple overtime game against Seton Hall. So we'll get all of that. Lineup brought to you by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Ironically, hey, tweet at Bishop this. See if he knows this. Do you know what, on the heels of our discussion yesterday, do you know what today is, or this week is? It's Officials Appreciation Week.
Can he acknowledge that during the broadcast? I think he should. All right, we're gonna
get Higgy to do color with Bishop for a game.
Or at least a halftime guest.
I'll tell you who they should get to do color is Jacob Padilla. Those two guys hate officials. They would just be
like Statler and
unbearable.
Oh, he's got to get a mention. We got to push for this.
There's not a chance. Not a chance.
These refs aren't half bad. No, they're all bad.
Or if there's a mention, it'll be very sarcastic.
Yes, it'll be mentioned. Oh, what a great call on Officials Appreciation Week. Yeah.
I don't know what you're appreciating that official about. All I'm doing is I'm appreciating that's the 8th straight call that he has had against Creighton. Yep. I'm keeping track, Tyler.
Yep. It's got to be a thing tonight. Ooh, that's worth just like tuning in right there.
You can be part of the program at any time if you wish. There's a lot of different ways to get in touch with the show on the 42 Degree The Source hotline, 951-1620. You can always email us into the Equitable Bank inbox, Gary at 1620thezone.com.
Handley at 1620thezone.com.
Or on the, the Equitable Bank inbox? The JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed at Gary Sharp 1620.
At Nick Handley 1620.
Here's Terry to kick off the morning on the 42 Degree Source hotline. Good morning, Terry. Terry. Scary Terry is gone.
He wanted to make a comparison on fan bases, apparently.
Yeah. It's a good one. I hope he calls back.
Jimmy, what'd you do to him?
Cheddar's Cheddar, by the way, said that he was 12 when he had his first chew experience. Man, you guys are young doing that.
Well, I don't know that it was, I searched out to put skull between my lip and gum. Yeah. It was more of, I was at baseball camp and the older kids were like, this is really cool. And I'm like, you know what? I've started to be around baseball with my dad. I'll chew. They just did not give you instructions. Like on the can, it does not give you instructions as a 9-year-old. Do not swallow it.
Well, and especially if you are one of those unfortunate souls that your first experience chewing was leaf, because that's really confusing. Like, do I just stick this in my mouth and just let it be? Do I chew it? What do I do? Like,
you need an orientation at camp to, if you're going to chew, you want to do it like this.
Yeah.
That's why I made the transition to big league chew.
Never let you down.
That's a good transition. It's a good fallback.
I could blow a good bubble.
And there was some, anybody have like the favorite flavor? If it's not watermelon, I have questions for you. Like the regular bubble. Yeah, the regular bubble gum was fine. But if you're going the flavor route, like the watermelon.
I didn't know there was a flavor.
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
I thought there was grape and regular.
You got grape, watermelon.
Grape,
there was I think it was like a cherry soda. That one was kind of weird.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, there's some flavors. Yeah, watermelon. If you weren't going to go regular, watermelon was the way to go.
All right, when we come back, so Nebraska and Ohio State are playing tonight. Another big game for Nebraska to try and get to 21 or 22. You know, we're on the road to 270 for all you politicos out there. Nebraska's on the road to either 21 or 22. And tonight they take on Ohio State. It has been a good year so far for Nebraska, a weird good team. But subtly tonight, in this matchup, it is another positive where Nebraska is ahead of Ohio State. And we'll explain that. Sam McEwen, in less than an hour, will join the show on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
Looking for a new pipe or premium THC flower? Go to any 42 Degrees location and pick from the largest selection of quality glass pipes and premium THC flower. With buy one, get one 50% off sale, there isn't a better time to stop in and talk with our knowledgeable, friendly, and professional staff. 10 convenient locations and buy one, get one 50% off sale. Why shop anywhere else? 42 Degrees. Buy your mom's house.
Betting on your favorite sporting events just got a whole lot easier. Warhorse Sportsbook is now open in Omaha. Save yourself the drive across the river and put your money where your mouth is at Horseman's Park, 6303 Q Street. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel. Évidemment.
Babbel. Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Start learning a language today at Babbel.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. The ugly truth is when you buy a timeshare, you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is this never ends. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, weather warmed up yesterday. So our city workers that have been plowing snow, I got a feeling they're going to be very, very busy during the spring. We're going to have a major pothole season.
Yeah. They're starting.
Really?
Yeah, drove over one yesterday. It's a baby, but it's growing.
It will grow.
It'll feed it.
Yeah, if there's a little one now, we already know how that's going to work out. Anybody who's driven on 144th and Maple when you're coming up on that intersection, if you were continuing to head north on 144th and Maple, there's
sounds cold.
Like it's like a 6 consecutive pothole area that's unavoidable, and it just they've tried to fill it so many times. I feel like they've made it worse.
Odson told me it's a conspiracy that they will not be filling potholes for the next couple of years, so it'll force you to go ride the streetcar.
And he would know. He lives here.
That's what Josh told
me.
me.
So what's the excuse out west? Are we getting a streetcar out west too?
Take the bus.
The Orbit. Ooh. See, now you're going to drum up more business for the Orbit.
Take StarTran.
Yeah.
I still have StarTran. Is that what they call in Lincoln?
And stop by the New World Herald offices.
Yeah. All right.
120th
and Blondo, yeah. That's my wife used to work out there.
All right, so there's with Nebraska and Ohio State playing tonight, so Chris Holtmann is in town. Chris Holtmann's been at Ohio State for 7 years. Good guy at Butler, made progress, got the Ohio State job. Remember who, Greg McDermott was involved in that whole discussion when Gene Smith needed to hire a coach when he gave Thad Matta the Ziggy. So Chris Holtmann has come in. It was a really, really good hire. And then it hasn't gone so well. Like Ohio State tonight will have to have a sense of desperation because they are one of the last 4 teams in or first 4 teams out. And so this is a resume game tonight for both teams. But I think a subtle thing about the progress that Fred Hoiberg has made, and it started well before this year, is the philosophical change where they said we're going to get old. And instead of having mercenaries that we're going to have every single year, we're going to get old. And so we're going to get older players. And Ohio State's got a lot of talent. Bruce Thornton, Jamison Battle, we go on and on and on. But here's a subtle thing that I think shows progress of Fred Hoiberg. It is the 23rd of January. The last 27 conference games for Ohio State, they are 8-19.
Wow.
Nebraska's record, would you like to take a gander at Nebraska's record during the same time period?
Ended last year strong. So you said 8-19 is what Ohio State is?
Yes, sir.
Let's go with .
I'll help you out here.
16 and
I'll give you one more game. They're 13 and 15.
Okay.
So Nebraska has a better conference record than Ohio State over the last 28, 27 games. Here's a subtle positive for Fred Hoiberg is this game tonight is being played, and which coach is theoretically on the hot seat? It's not the guy coaching Nebraska. It's the guy coaching Ohio State.
Yep.
We haven't even now. I know that the got to get rid of Fred guys and gals, and you're out there because I hear from you. You hit me up in the Echo Bank inbox.
It happens after every
You
loss.
stop me on the street.
Happened after Rutgers.
You stop me when I'm checking out of Walmart there on 72nd. And you're like, hey, we got to talk about Fred. And then you tell me this. Hey, Sharpie, Ohio State, Maryland, Wisconsin, Illinois, Northwestern. There's the stretch. I'll be banging the gong to get rid of Fred. And I'm like, oh, But we haven't had that really discussion. Now, I don't think Trev has been asked about the job performance of Fred. I mean, he's been very positive. He's at all the games. At least he's an athletic director that goes to the basketball games when, the coach might be in doubt. Hello, Tim Miles.
Yep.
Hello, Moose Man.
Bill.
But Chris Holtmann, in year 7, Ohio State should not have the dip that they have had.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not talking about Fred's job security. Some are. I'm not going to be oblivious to people like, well, what? Where do you want to go? Is he going to get you over the hump? But tonight the game will be played, and not the guy coaching Nebraska, but the guy coaching Ohio State may get the ziggy at the end of the year because of some inconsistencies over the last couple of years at Ohio State.
And you got a new athletic director.
And especially this year.
Yep.
And that's a subtle positive in this game, because if you would have told me in the summer, hey, that Ohio State game, Holtmann, Hoiberg, who's in trouble? How many people are saying Holtmann? Probably saying, not Fred. Ain't gonna go well. Ain't gonna go well.
Yeah, that's it. I would also, I would throw in the fact that Ross Bjork is probably also going to have to take a hard look at that basketball program too. So
now he doesn't start though. I don't know about that because he doesn't start till July 1, correct?
Right.
I think he starts the day that the Big Ten changes.
Yeah, and obviously that would be a very
that would make sense. I mean,
very bad timing to make a move.
So this is
July.
This is Gene Smith. Now, Ohio State's good. I mean, they're 3-4 in the league, but Ohio State expects more out of their basketball program.
They should. Yeah, I mean, I remember I guess it was pretty now long ago, but you go back to the days of having Jared Sullinger and those teams would be in contention to at least be in the second week of the NCAA tournament, and the occasional you get that Final Four team or a team that looks like they're consistent top 10 team. I mean, Ohio State basketball, you go back over 15 years, that was a program that was usually going to be in the top half of the Big Ten. And to see the kind of start that they got off to, which I thought that was interesting, because I thought Chris Holtmann kind of going into the season was one of those guys, one of those coaches in the Big Ten that a lot of people were kind of looking at saying, okay, this is going to be kind of a make or break season. And they did get off to a pretty decent start. We're thinking, okay, Chris Holtmann, Ohio State, looking like they're going to be able to maybe have a quality season, and they still could, but have a quality season and be able to save Chris Holtmann's job. And now all of a sudden, I mean, it was a good win against Penn State, but before that, you had some tough losses right there too, where all of a sudden you're kind of sitting in a tough spot of the NCAA tournament conversation, but also in the Big Ten standings, where, as we've talked about many, many times when talking about Nebraska and any opponent that they have, of how this is just kind of a different season for the Big Ten. So for Chris Holtmann and for that Ohio State basketball brand to not be able to take advantage of maybe a Big Ten that's a little bit down, that's obviously not going to reflect well on a guy that's been there long enough to where you would think would at least have that heading in the right direction if it's ever going to happen.
So I had to look this up. You realize how long ago Jared Sullinger played at Ohio State?
2012.
Yeah. So he didn't play for Holtmann.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long time.
Yep.
Off the top of my head, I can't rattle off all the first round picks that they've had since Sullinger, but they haven't won a game on the road this year. I think they'll play with a lot of desperation. I think the line is right, with Nebraska only being a 2.5-point favorite. But here's the other dynamic about it as the season has unfolded. And I just gave you that 5-game stretch. And if you want to say this is a garbage conversation about job security, the season's not over, and Fred hasn't gotten into the NCAA tournament yet, I get you. The next 5 games are going to stress you. But if you're Nebraska, and they're 9 or 10, I get up every morning now and look at my favorite bracketologists to see who they'd update their bracket daily. Nebraska's a 9 or a 10 seed in a lot of places. By the way, Creighton is a 4 today on Shelby Master does the brackets for USA Today. That little 5-game stretch here that Nebraska is starting tonight, and they've kind of been in with, Wisconsin and Purdue. But this 5-game stretch, if you look at the schedule after that 5-game stretch for like the rest of the way, and Nebraska's got to win some road games along the way.
Yep.
I mean, they got to do some things that make up for a weak non-con strength of schedule.
Yep.
So they got to win some road games. But if you get through this next 5-game stretch and your head is above water and you're 2-2, even 2-3, you'd love to be 3-2, or anything after that is gravy. But the closing stretch, Nebraska
it's manageable.
Nebraska has the second easiest remaining schedule in the Big Ten Conference.
Yeah. Starting the home game with Michigan, then you're at Penn State, at Indiana, Minnesota at home, at Ohio State, then Rutgers at home, and at Michigan. Like that's that's why I think a lot of different factors of this. First of all, you're right. You're going to have to show that you can beat somebody on the road. Now, Maryland would probably, in my opinion, would give you that better opportunity than what Illinois would. At Northwestern, that's going to be obviously tough too. But, at Indiana, at Ohio State, at Michigan, obviously you're going to have to pull something off, at least a couple of road games where you're going to have to be able to come through there. But as far as, if we're to believe that this team is different and extremely confident at home, which I think everything would lead you to believe that it is, you still have a lot of home opportunities as well that you can close that out strong. It's the Juwan Gary injury is obviously, that being day-to-day. I know he's a game-time decision tonight. He caught a little bit of a break there too. And just how this team kind of handles itself down the stretch of the things that have sort of ailed them too, especially on the road defensively, defending the three-point shot. Tonight's going to be interesting too, given how good Ohio State is when it comes to offensive rebound. And we saw what happened against Rutgers in that problem. So there are things that have kind of been brought to the surface with Nebraska basketball, but it's weird. A lot of those things don't always exist, even without a Juwan Gary, don't always exist at home. Now, got sloppy with the basketball against Northwestern. They're probably a little bit lucky to win that game, but they beat a team that is a quality Northwestern team too. So how they are able to kind of manage through, I think if you get to 2-3, I think you're feeling really good in those next 5. Now,
race for 21.
If you get to 3-2, well, then hell. I feel like,
what primaries are they going to win?
Yeah, they got to flip somebody. They got to flip one. Is that at Northwestern? Would that be flipping?
I
think at Northwestern stuff, at Illinois would be a good flip. That'd be an amazing flip right there.
That would, you'd put yourself in the NCAA tournament because that means you would have beat the number 1 team in the country at the time in Purdue, and then beat a team that is surging in Illinois, but it would be a road victory.
Yep.
Iowa JD says people forget Iowa blew out this Nebraska basketball team. You know what? One thing they don't forget, Iowa JD, is that Nebraska beat Purdue on their home floor. Was the internet working on Saturday? What was the final score of that game?
Of the Iowa Purdue game?
Oh, 84-70. Purdue won in Iowa City. I just had to check that.
Yeah, but Iowa JD's got the
Fran should have tampered with Edey, would have thrown him off his game. So Ohio State will play desperation tonight. I got some fellas now.
Yeah.
Bruce Thornton is a dude. Gale Jr. is a dude. Jamison Battle from Minnesota is a dude. I wonder if Nebraska plays with desperation, or if they just play, man, we're at home, we're cooking Nebraska with 12-1 at PBA.
Mm-hmm.
But the line is right. This will be a game. Don't worry, it's going to be a tension convention. This will be Ohio State. If there's one thing that Holtman can go, hey, the record isn't what it is, and we haven't won a road game yet in the Big Ten, is they do find a way to stay in games. Like, they have very rarely gotten blown out unless it's gotten sideways, like in the last 5 or 6 minutes. But usually there will be a competitive game into the second half, and that's what will happen tonight. So against a desperate team that needs a victory, against Nebraska, who should be desperate and needs a victory, if Nebraska has a chance to get a lead, and by God, if it gets to double figures, they're going to blow that. Get a lead and hold on. No, that's who they are. They are a weird good team.
My God,
they are lazy. They are sloppy at times. And then they're like, wow, all right, that's an NCAA team. But Fred, only get up by 9 today.
Yeah.
Don't get into double figures because that's danger.
Yeah. They start, you're right, though. They start dropping their guard. You start getting careless with the basketball. All of a sudden, you can't rebound. You get some poor shots. I thought you might go there, but I thought you were going to say, yeah, look out then. PBA is going to be lit up and
He's not
all
wrong.
that.
Oh,
But,
no.
Yeah.
People will be like, oh, I expect this.
Yeah.
No, don't blow them out.
Yeah.
No, this game's supposed to be close. Do it for the Peacock.
Isn't that crazy to think that
We should put that on a T-shirt?
the
No,
game
not really.
where they had the most like game control here as of late was against Purdue. Where, I mean, you were waiting for Purdue to just go on this huge run, but Nebraska, out of all of the ups and downs, the one game that they probably showed the most game control from start to finish was the Purdue game. They got down, and then they came back, they tied it, and then at that point, they kept them at arm's length. And I think the only reason you were nervous about that game and wasn't what was actually happening in the game in front of your eyes is just the reputation that Purdue had and the type of players that you knew they had, that you figured, nah, it can't be, dare I say, easy? But Nebraska kind of made it look easy in that game. The rest of the way, hell no.
All right. Sam McEwen comes your way at 7:30. We'll talk more about tonight at PBA and what Juwan Gary may or may not do. And also, is the matchup for Creighton tonight good or bad off a 3 overtime game against the Muskies of Xavier from Cincinnati, Ohio, and the wonderful Skyline Chili, which is garbage.
Now I know you're trolling. Yeah, there we go.
It is soup.
Have you ever had it on a hot dog?
I don't want it, period. I have had it before.
Yeah.
There's nothing special about it.
No, it's completely overrated. I did try it on a hot dog.
It's chili with a gob of cheese and a bunch of water.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Okay.
And noodles.
And I'm glad that Cincinnatians, you defend that. Like we defend the Runza.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have
But
a Runza
that doesn't mean a
Skyline
Nebraskan has to like the Skyline Chili.
No.
There was an Xavier game on last week. Oh, when they were playing what was the game?
The Butler game?
Yeah, the game that had the swings of momentum.
Butler, yeah.
And they showed one of the concession stands, and they were making
they're doing the Skyline Chili.
Skyline Chili.
Yeah.
The Kansas-Cincinnati football game, the announcers were eating it, and it just went too far. It was a bad game. I mean, I enjoyed it.
Hey,
but
no wonder Brian Callahan wanted to get out of Cincinnati at Skyline Chili. All right, Jimmy's got an update. Sam McEwen in 30 minutes. Plus, we will get to DePaul has an opening. One of the rare college basketball in-season firings is Tony Stubblefield, UNO alum, is out after 3 years. DePaul 3-15. Chew on this. You could spot DePaul 25 points to begin every Big East game they played this year, and they'd still be in 10th place. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. Halfway through the 6 o'clock hour on this Tuesday morning, no new accidents or slow-moving traffic to report right now, but there's reports of some snow falling in the metro. In addition to the stuff that has melted over the last few days and some new snow, it'll be pretty slick in some areas. Best just to drive cautiously on your morning commute. Stay safe and wear those seatbelts. I'm Peter Krenzer.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
What does Saul's loan on? Almost everything, like jewelry, gold chains, bracelets, earrings, wedding rings, and high-end watches, guns, electronics, $10 to $50,000, super fast and easy with no credit check. Saul's loans on almost everything.
Hey folks, Kent Pavelka again to tell you about your local concrete experts at Everlevel Concrete Repair. Now, if you have cracked, uneven concrete, Everlevel can fix it at a fraction of the cost compared to replacement. This is no Band-Aid. Their products are built to last. It gives your concrete the durable protection it needs, and there's still time. I chose Everlevel for my driveway, and I've got peace of mind with their long-term transferable warranty. Everlevel's products and customer service are top-notch, and that's why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Say it with me. Everlevel, Everlevel, Everlevel.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's got to be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
1620 The Zone is on location Friday, January 26th at American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska, in support of the Creighton Pinkout Game, a free home away from home for cancer patients and caregivers. You can find details on 1620thezone.com and at cancer.org/pinkout.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Do you want more control over your business spending? Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management platform designed to save you time and money. Ramp offers unlimited corporate cards with spend controls you can customize to stop wasteful spending before it happens. Ramp makes expense reports a breeze by automatically collecting receipts and matching them to the right transaction. You'll close your books in hours instead of days. Ramp allows you to see all of your company spend in one place, so you can make quick, informed decisions about your business finances. Plus, Ramp will share insights based on your spending to help you cut costs. Over 15,000 businesses have added up to 5% to their bottom line with Ramp. You can be one of them. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Omaha Maverick Hockey is the hottest ticket in town and is fifth in the country in attendance. NCHC play is heating up as Minnesota Duluth, Colorado College, and North Dakota enter the intimidating confines of Baxter Arena. Also, Maverick men's basketball is in fourth place in the Summit League and making a run at the league title as they take on second place St. Thomas and first place South Dakota State. Let's pack the Baxter. Get your tickets now by calling the box office at 402-554-MAVS or at omavs.com/tics.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel. Évidemment.
Babbel. Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Start learning a language today at Babbel.com.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
High school basketball in Nebraska will be using the shot clock next season in all 6 classes. So congratulations to everybody. It has only taken 3 seasons for it to spread from Class A only as an experiment to the addition of Class B this season to the anticipated approval from the NSAA board to expand it to the rest of the classes. The only district that rejected it was District V in southwest Nebraska.
Most people got so nervous that this was going to be a mess. You don't even, I don't think you guys go to high school basketball games, but you don't even notice it. It doesn't. You don't even pay attention to it unless there's a violation. The rollout has been really, really good. This is good for basketball in this state.
Makes high school.
I remember getting
better.
into this, the one that was first rolled out it was the Metro Holiday Tournament at Baxter, I believe.
They did as experiment.
Yeah. And I thought it was great. I think if you, especially in Class A, but also, hey, you get D1, D2 kids in all classes throughout the state of Nebraska, that transition is, I think, something that is really good for them to be a part of. I think to actually experience that at a young age, it just made too much sense. I got a lot of pushback from people in some smaller communities talking about how the cost was going to be a problem, how you're going to be able to also be able to pay someone. You weren't just going to find a student to run the shot clock, that you needed more manpower. There was a lot of things that people would bring up. And I didn't feel like they were major factors in keeping that out of even smaller classes.
Yeah, there's more positive than there are negatives.
Absolutely.
And the rollout has been seamless. And these kids have already been playing with a shot clock if they've been playing basketball during the summer. So I'm glad it's across the board. It's better for the state of Nebraska. And yeah, there are some costs involved, but everybody else has been able to figure it out. And the NSA works with schools. So good on basketball. Good on basketball in this state.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go.
Speaking of basketball, easy transition. Nebraska will host Ohio State at PBA tonight at 6 on the Peacock with baby Collinsworth on the call. Oh,
Jack.
yeah. It's like Lindsey Nelson,
Hey,
Cotton Bowl.
Last time Jack was at Pinnacle Bank Arena, though. Good things for
They
Nebraska.
won. So, yeah, 1-0 with Jack Collinsworth there. Could it be 2-0? Find out tonight. Creighton hosts Xavier at the Chai at 7:30. We'll get you started with shoot-around, a nice, tight, hour-long shoot-around at 6. Speaking of the Jays, they move up one spot to 17th in the AP poll, down one spot to 16th in the coaches poll. They are also number 12 in the updated version of The Net, not the 1995 movie starring Sandra Bullock. The Creighton women remained at number 21, and Dennis Miller dies in that movie. And the Associated Press poll released on...
Right away.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah. But he still had a show on HBO at the time.
And he was still on Monday Night Football.
Yeah. They fell one spot to 25. Coaches poll will be released later today. They're at Georgetown tomorrow night. The Titans are turning to a Callahan. They've heard that before around here as they are working to finalize a deal with Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan as their next coach. He replaces Mike Vrabel, who would become the 6th coach in Titans franchise history who was let go after the regular season ended. In 5 seasons as the Bengals offensive coordinator, he helped establish an offense that fueled Cincinnati to 2 AFC North championships and a Super Bowl appearance in 2021. They were 7th in NFL in points per game, 8th in total yards, 5th in total passing yards. Jim Harbaugh expected to meet with the Chargers this week for a second interview to be the team's next head coach. Glad they cleared up what he's interviewing for. He has been linked since Dean Spanos fired Brandon Staley and Tom Telesco in mid-December. Harbaugh played quarterback for 14 years in the NFL, but many people forget, including me, that his final 2 seasons was with the Chargers in 99 and 2000. And finally, this makes me sad. I hate ending on this, but this was one of my favorite players growing up. And Hall of Fame second baseman Ryan Sandberg, who played 15 seasons for your Chicago Cubs, announced on the Instagram that he's been diagnosed with metastatic prostate cancer and has begun treatment. He's 10-time All-Star during his 15 seasons for the Cubs from 82 to 97. Hit 282 home runs. It seemed like he had 1,000. That's how I felt as a kid watching him. 344 stolen bases, and he was once manager of the Phillies from 2013 to 15. He's been a fixture at Cubs games at spring training and Wrigley Field over the years, providing guidance to young infielders, and also has been a pregame and postgame analyst in various media. They are scheduled to unveil the statue of Sandberg outside Wrigley on June 23rd, which would be the 40th anniversary of the memorable game when he hit tying home runs on the Saturday game of the week on NBC. 9th and 10th inning, 7 RBIs as Chicago's 11-inning, 12-11 victory over the Cardinals. It's a famous game.
I didn't grow up
great season for the Cubs.
As a Cubs fan, obviously, like Gary did, but I was around some of my friends that were diehard Cubs fans, and there was two guys that I will always hold in the highest regard when it comes to Cubs baseball. Well, Gracie's one of them for so many different reasons, but Andre Dawson and Ryan Sandberg. Like growing up, those are the two guys. We'd all try to emulate Ryan Sandberg's just perfect swing. Dawson's odd, closed stance as well. But when I heard the news about Ryan Sandberg, immediately thought of just all of those different memories that we had growing up. Playing a little wiffle ball, and you always say, "I'm going to be George, but I'm going to be Ryan Sandberg." Like, Ryan Sandberg, man, that was like Cubs baseball growing up for me.
Somewhere the late Eric Shaw has just hit it again once you mentioned Andre Dawson.
Yeah.
Most people don't remember that. Some people do.
I was at that game.
Even better.
When he charged the mound.
Really?
Nobody won any of that.
Crazy.
Nice.
So people that follow me on Twitter, that's my avatar is Ryan Sandberg.
Yeah.
He'll beat this. He'll beat this. And the statue is a big deal because of the anniversary of one of the greatest games in the history of Wrigley Field on NBC on a Saturday afternoon, and the fact that he did it against a guy who was a nemesis of the Cubs and Bruce Sutter. So he'll beat this. He'll beat this. He's a strong guy, and he'll be there for the ceremony on June 23rd Third, and he'll be at Cooperstown when the current class goes in. That will include Jim Leland, and I still think it's Beltray, Joe Mauer, and Todd Helton today. You know, Todd Helton once hit 372 in a season. He had 40-plus home runs, and he finished 5th in the MVP balloting just because he played at Coors Field.
Yeah, the Rockies. And my favorite Todd Helton memory is when he was with Tennessee, College World Series, on the same day that I got to meet the guy who played Jack Parkman in Major League Two, David Keith, who was also a big Tennessee. I don't know if he's a Tennessee alum or he's just from Tennessee. But
was he doing the shimmy? It makes the women in Cleveland puke.
We got him to do the little shimmy. It was a very sleepy sort of it was like a midweek game, elimination game. Tennessee was playing. Todd Helton was on that team. And we saw him sitting there in the front row. He comes walking by, and we're like, I think that's Jack Parkman. And then so one of his buddies came by like an inning later. And by the way, Joel Schaefer, who was he was with me on this one, walks by, and we're like, hey, that's Jack Parkman down there, isn't it? And the guy looked at us and kind of smiled. He goes, no. And then so we just started hollering for probably a good 2 innings, like, Jack Parkman, do the little shimmy. And then he didn't turn around and look at us, but he like kind of did a little shimmy. And then he walked up during the middle of the inning, came over and talked to us. I think it was Joel who asked him if he'd go to the zoo with us after the game. And he said, maybe. He said he didn't know how long he was going to be in town. So he gave us the maybe. Obviously he didn't go. But yeah, I remember that game. I remember watching Todd Helton in the College World Series and also meeting David Keith, a.k.a. Jack Parkman. And I think we also found out that David Keith was in a movie where he groped Pamela Anderson. And we all claimed
who wasn't in those days?
And we all claimed that we shook that hand. So like, hey, and in a way we did too. It was a lot of good things that day.
Like legally groped or illegally?
In a movie.
Oh.
In a movie, yeah. It was a movie that we all had to find out. It was called Snapdragon. Never saw it.
I don't think when they announced the Oscar nominations this morning, that will get a call.
No, doubtful.
So Brian Callahan, who is really, really good, and I hope it decimates the Bengals with the loss of their OC, is his first call has to be to his dad, right?
I would think so.
Say, hey, can you come fix the Tennessee offensive line?
Yeah.
Because great all
make that move from Cleveland.
Brian Callahan's stay in Tennessee will be dictated on what he does with Will Levis.
Does Bill really want to be in Cleveland too? Come on, you get to go to Nashville. Come on, I bet that would be I bet that'd be a well-received phone call from his son.
Dad's the best offensive line coach in the NFL.
Yes, he is.
I also saw when Callahan's hiring in Tennessee was announced yesterday. I have to look this up, or maybe you guys know that every team in the NFL has changed offensive coordinators since the 22 offseason.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I think I saw that yesterday. Yeah, I think that's right. That's insane. But yeah, I believe that is accurate. There was something that was going around yesterday when that news came out that said, okay, there's the final offensive coordinating change for the Cincinnati Bengals, which is nuts. And I know for Chicago, they're now looking for another one. And yeah, those guys, a lot of times those guys get elevated, which is great. But this is kind of we've seen that shift now. This is the world that the NFL is in, is you're getting the hot OC now, and the OCs are getting elevated.
So Harbaugh, you said, is interviewing for the Chargers again today?
Second time today.
So he's supposed to interview with the Falcons?
Yes.
Man, if I'm Bill Belichick and that's the only team that he's been officially connected to,
you block it.
No, I sit out. Hey, look, the Cowboys, the Bills, the Eagles, all could be open after next year.
Mm-hmm.
But will people forget about Belichick? And that's the only team that's been interested in him publicly.
I won't. But Mike McCarthy will be given a lifetime contract, so it doesn't matter.
So this is what I'm looking forward to. And Harbaugh, the Chargers make sense. You will have an AFC West, which still has Patrick LaVon Mahomes.
The second.
You have two of the most passive-aggressive coaches in the division, in Harbaugh and Peyton.
Yeah. Yeah, those.
But how soon after? So Michigan, I would love to be in Ward Manuel's office because I think they've already determined that Harbaugh's leaving. And what are we thinking? Well, they give Harbaugh about 5 minutes after the Chargers announce he's their head coach, and then they announce Sharon Moore as their head coach. They give about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe 10. Maybe 10 minutes.
Just
maybe
get
they
the
wait 10
paperwork
minutes.
ironed out.
But they have had to have already said,
how long does it take to enter the transfer portal?
Harbaugh's gone, and we're going to promote a very popular assistant so we do not get fleeced. Because 29 guys have left Alabama. the college football does have to figure this out. And you can say, you know what, Alabama, you're getting what the rest of the world gets. Yeah, but there's something wrong with that. College football is going to have to figure out the 30-day window when you lose your coach and how your roster can be fleeced and all that kind of stuff. So Michigan has already seen what happened at Alabama. I give them 10 minutes. They announce Sharon Moore as their head coach, and they have maybe one or two guys that leave. Not, they turn the faucet on, and there's Wolverines falling out of it. They already have to have, like, that. That is a done deal. Like, I would like to look at the nameplates. You think he has his nameplate?
Yeah. I'm sure it's already made, yeah.
Coach Moore, do you like this? Is that a good shade? You like the font?
Yeah.
I mean, so it's
just waiting to officially go up.
It's a convenient hire.
Yeah, exactly. And it's unfortunately the position that Michigan's in. That's not a job that I think you want to make out of convenience. That's a job that you want to be able to have some time, be able to vet everything. Maybe at the end of the day, you realize that Moore is your guy.
Well, you only hire Michigan men.
Well, yeah. But also you're looking at what this
Scott Dreisbach,
what this program is going to go into the future of the Big Ten as well. I just think that there has to be more time that goes into it.
Devin Gardner.
Oh, there you go.
This is going to be dude.
Hey, isn't Bellamy? Isn't Bellamy somewhere on staff? Bellamy's on staff.
We're gonna be dudes naming random Michigan players.
Elvis Gerbach.
Oh, that would be a good one. What about Greasy?
Chiefs just still started Gannon in the playoff game, but
Jake
different
Murdoch.
conversation.
Go continue, Nick. Jimmy and I are just doing this on the side.
Yeah.
No. That's not a job that I think you just, again, to sum it up, that out of convenience,
Mark Messner.
Like you got to kind of look at all avenues right now.
Both Runyons.
What about Tiaka Batuka?
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Just having Coach Tiaka Batuka. Just be fun
he
to
is.
say.
He is a coach. Yeah. Tyrone Wheatley.
Ooh. Tyrone Wheatley. David Terrell.
Morris.
Well, he's a great Bears receiver too.
So I did last week on Twitter name random NFL wide receivers.
Yeah.
Do you know a guy in 15 years who will win those kind of debates on whatever Twitter X becomes? Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Is he amazing at that? Or is he just
that
name?
would just be well, because it's a random.
And he showed up though.
And by then it will be random.
Yeah, 15 years down the road.
Yeah.
That's the one that's going to win these conversations online about name random running back.
Oh, random running
NFL
back. Okay.
lore. Yeah, just like last week. Did you get involved in the wide
receiver one? Yeah, we were talking about that one too, which was a lot of fun, especially with the fun part about that was just other than maybe Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey, pretty much every Bears wide receiver is a random dude. It's just a random wide receiver.
Hey, do you think Michigan is? Michigan's a little perturbed here about the fact that they won a national championship and they immediately got pushed to the back page by Saban, and then they're like, "Okay, we're through Saban. They hired DeBoer. Good luck." And then Ohio State is all of a sudden doing what Ohio State's doing.
But also,
people forget it was 2 weeks ago on a Tuesday morning. We're talking about Michigan winning the national championship.
But also,
that's like an afterthought now. Well, except for in Ann Arbor.
And Gary, the Michigan conversation quickly went from, even after the Saban news too, didn't go back to the national championship conversation at all. It went back to Jim Harbaugh's future. So none of it. They barely had a 48-hour window of being able to celebrate and pay tribute to a very good college football team, because all the headlines about them after that was about Jim Harbaugh's future. Seldom did you hear anything about the national championship, even when they tried to have a little celebration.
All right, Sam McCune's coming in a little bit. We'll just go rapid fire questions with him about why he dislikes Taylor Swift being at Chiefs games. I ask the question every day. Just all y'all that don't like her being at games, just admit you hate the Chiefs.
Do you think that if there was no Taylor Swift with the Chiefs this year, and now at this time we were just getting Jason Kelce, it would actually be the opposite effect, and everyone would be adopting the Chiefs just for Jason?
I don't know. My interaction with people does not say that.
I would have been tempted. Jason's all of us now.
It doesn't really bother me to the point that it makes me dislike Taylor Swift.
Hater music.
No, it's just, if you're going to blame anybody, blame the networks.
Yep, they keep showing her.
Blame Romo.
Yeah, this isn't the Chiefs don't go into every production meeting where they get to meet the coach and be like, "Oh, and by the way, you guys do know you have to show the suite with Taylor Swift in it
I
and
give
Brittany
her,
Mahomes.
I give her credit.
X
So
amount of times.
all she's doing is she's cheering from a box. Her boyfriend plays in the NFL. Congratulations. I truly believe this is that she is authentic. She's like learning the game of football, and she is cheering as a fan.
Yeah.
But yesterday was another day where people were like upset. Okay, you don't like the Chiefs. I get it. So you don't like Taylor Swift being at games. Her boyfriend plays for the Chiefs. She's in a box. She's not asking to be shown on TV. She's not on the sidelines. Okay. Whenever she enters the stadium,
She's not making it about
she tries
herself.
to make it as little as possible.
Yeah.
And she's authentic cheering. Like, it's not like, I don't think it's fake. I think I have heard that she is learning football. So
Well, I'm
that's
sure-
kind of cool.
sure
You
Brittany's
know-
teaching her.
You know what? They should show more people that have emotion and have fun at football games, because that's what football is. It's fun. Except when you lose a lot of one-score games and you haven't gone to a bowl game in 7 years. But then a guy comes out of the shadows from the state of Georgia.
Well, wow.
And he brings you hope.
Look at that transition.
Yeah. Well, it's always about him.
And he'll date Taylor one day.
Yeah. Who's going to be like his boo? That's going to be in a suite, and we're going to be like, oh, that's
How about
Dylan Raio's
Olivia
girlfriend.
Rodrigo? She's young.
We need to start thinking of a power couple, because we did have
Nebraska?
we had the Heinrich Harper Murray power couple, and then we had the rivalry with volleyball and basketball, Creighton and Nebraska as well.
So
But
you're going to fix Dylan up?
we got to figure out what would be best for the brand. Yeah,
You know what would be best for the brand?
winning.
Yeah. Us being in Phoenix next year in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl.
Hey, I like it.
I can give a recommendation.
Sam will join us in a little bit. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Will this be a tainted championship? In my opinion, it will be, yes. The fact that you had a coach literally sit out 6 games this year, this type of a scandal actually affected the play on the field to some degree. To what degree, we don't know. This scandal has to do with affecting the outcome on the field.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
A light wintry mix possible Tuesday morning. Watch out for slick spots during the AM drive. Otherwise, expect areas of fog throughout the day. Cloudy with highs in the low to mid 30s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time Saving Traffic Center. Things moving a little bit slow on JFK northbound between L Street and I-80, and there are reports of snow coming down in some areas of the metro, so if you are out for your commute this morning, do drive slow. It is going to get slick pretty quick with the melting and that snow coming down. Just please drive cautiously, wear those seatbelts, and stay safe. I'm Peter Krenzer.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
Someone just won a beautiful new blue truck by playing Trucks and Bucks 2023. So there are only 2 trucks left. Better get to a Nebraska Lottery retailer, buy a ticket, and play today. Top prize odds, 1 in 336,000.
Kevin Moret from Mentality Men's Health. Guys, in the over 23,000 clients who came to us for testosterone treatment, most clients start so they can do it right. After helping men for over 10 years, every day we see new clients whose treatment had shortcuts on treatment and monitoring. This not only affected their results, it was also risky. Guys, work with a doctor, one who monitors your care, reviews labs, and modifies your dose. Our doctors will optimize your free testosterone and maximize you mentally and physically. Schedule in Omaha at lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com.
Now, during Staples Print Big Sale, get $20 off your print purchase of $100 or more, $50 off your print purchase of $200 or more, and $100 off your print purchase of $300 or more. So the more you print at Staples, the more you save. To demonstrate, print at Staples, you save. But if you print at Staples, you save. See how that works? Staples Print Big Sale. Print more, save more. Up to $100. Ends 2/10. Visit staples.com/print for details.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
If you're having problems in the bedroom, talking about it is the last thing you want to do. Same goes for hair loss, anxiety, or even depression. That's where HIMS comes in. Through HIMS, you don't have to talk about it. You can do something about it. Just go to hims.com/start, where you can find a variety of potential solutions for the problems men face every day and save up to 95% on generic alternatives. The entire process is 100% online, making it incredibly simple, straightforward, and above all, private. If prescribed, treatments made using clinically proven ingredients are shipped directly to your door in low-key packaging. So if you're experiencing ED, hair loss, anxiety, or problems with your general health, you don't have to go to the doctor, the pharmacy, or spend all day talking about it. Just go to hims.com/start and do something about it. Get started today at hims.com/start. That's HIMS.com/START.
The Blackstone Meatball is where casual charm meets culinary excellence. Our diverse menu offers comforting pastas, fresh salads, hearty sandwiches, and of course, meatballs. Elevate your experience with a craft cocktail or a glass of wine from our well-curated selection. Whether it's a laid-back lunch, a cozy date night, or a catered celebration, the Blackstone Meatball promises upscale flavors and a casual, welcome setting. Visit us at one of our 2 locations, the Blackstone District or just west of Village Point on 180th and Dodge, or visit theblackstonemeatball.com.
1620 The Zone will be broadcasting live on Friday, January 26th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska, in support of the Creighton Pinkout game. Stop by and drop off a donation of paper products, gift cards, or cash to support cancer patients staying at the Hope Lodge, a free home away from home for cancer patients and caregivers who must travel to Omaha for their life-saving treatment. Once again, 1620 The Zone live January 26th from the American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska. For more details, listen to 1620 The Zone and visit cancer.org/pinkout.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, so the Omaha Supernovas, the professional volleyball team here in Omaha, they open up for the first time ever tomorrow night at the Chai. Good luck to them. I hope they succeed. They've done a lot of things right in their rollout and their lead up. So good luck to them. I hope it goes off. They have a great opening night. People come back. They've got a dominant team. I don't know much about the league other than Omaha's team, but I know that they're the preseason favorite. Good luck to them. I hope it works out because, man, they have every step along the way. They have done the right thing. I got John Baylor doing TV.
News Channel Nebraska. Does
that mean it's time to have him on again?
We were over at Lawler's Saturday, and a couple of the front office people were there getting some gear because I guess they were doing like a kind of their dress rehearsal Saturday night. They're going to do all the operations. I'm assuming they had a scrimmage and everything, so they're kind of doing their dry run, getting ready for the big home opener, and just kind of hearing the conversation from afar that they were having with the folks at Lawler's and trying to get all of their workers and everything geared up for with all the Supernova gear and stuff like that. Just, I don't know, just every little thing in the interactions. And we get, daily emails from Jeff Ekstrom and I've talked to former UNO hockey player who's with the organization as well, and Grant Gallo. Like, they're doing a great job of promoting it and really trying to get people to sort of get a glimpse in the behind the scenes as well of, just everything going into training camp. I mean, that's what they just got out of training camp. I think they had a report on January 2nd. You saw last week that they had some cuts and everything. So, I mean, it's big time professional sports. I mean, with everything that you would expect out of any type of professional sport when it comes to the camp process, the cut down process. And this is going to be really cool to kind of take in. It's something that I'm still very fascinated to see how well it's embraced, especially at CHI Health Center. But as far as the crowds and stuff that they're going to get,
embraced. I just don't know what they're like a standard for success this year is, like when it comes to attendance.
But and I think that's the biggest question is what type of attendance is kind of their expectation and what they draw on a regular basis.
But they've good luck to them because, man, they've done a lot of things right. There's a lot of people to work for them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I think they have more in the front office than the Storm Chasers do.
I think they do. A lot of familiar, like we mentioned, Jeff Ekstrom, but a lot of people that you've probably run into from time to time that, are either handling media relations or that are, handling, game operations. So, yeah, I mean, they're not sort of taking it easy on this thing. They're trying to roll out a big time product.
Good luck to them. And I hope they have a huge opening night, and I hope they have a huge successful season, and we get women's professional volleyball takes off in this in this country. All right, Sam McEwen. He'll join us next on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
I'm Rick Betker from Omaha Car Care. We want to thank all our friends and clients who made 2023 a great year. And we hope you can help us spread joy to others. From now through January, we're hosting a boot drive for the kids of the Q school system. At this time of year, they could really use some warm boots. So if you could bring your new or gently used boots to any of our 4 locations, we'll make sure they get to kids in need. Thanks from Omaha Car Care.
The GOAT is coming to Kansas City. Sporting KC will host Inter Miami and Lionel Messi, the greatest of all time, at the loudest stadium in the world. See Johnny Russell, Alan Pulido, and the rest of your hometown team take on Messi, Luis Suarez, and more at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium on Saturday, April 13th. It's the soccer capital of America versus the greatest of all time. Get your tickets while you still can at sportingkc.com.
It's pro time, Nebraska! The Omaha Supernovas, your Major League Volleyball team, are about to hit the court. Mark your calendars for January 24th at 7 p.m. when we host the first ever Pro Volleyball Federation match against the Atlanta Vibe at the CHI Health Center. Witness world-class talent, including national champions and Olympians. Don't wait. Secure your single match tickets today at supernovas.com to become a part of history.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is your home for the big game. Whether it's the NFL or a rivalry on the hardwood, you will find all the action on Oscar's top-of-the-line audio-video system. With 40 TVs and massive dual projectors, the game has never looked better. Pair that with their award-winning char-buffed wings and $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials, Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has everything you need. 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Get the appliances you need right away at Lowe's. Explore the largest assortment of brands you trust, like Whirlpool, Samsung, and LG, in-store or online at the best values. Plus, take advantage of our everyday financing offers on top items, from refrigerators to laundry pairs. And there's more. Get your new appliances delivered or installed quickly at your convenience. Because Lowe's knows appliances. Lowe's knows home improvement. Subject to credit approval.
Woodhouse Buick is bringing you more for the new year. With every new Buick purchase from Woodhouse, we're including 3 years of scheduled maintenance. Plus, with our current lease offers going on now, you'll save even more. Lease a 2023 Buick Envision Preferred for $399 a month for 39 months, 10,000 miles per year. With approved credit, $2,891 down payment and first payment and $299 doc fee due at signing. Must have GM Lease Loyalty or Lease Conquest to qualify. Offer expires January 31st, 2024. See dealer for details.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Do you want more control over your business spending? Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management platform designed to save you time and money. Ramp offers unlimited corporate cards with spend controls you can customize to stop wasteful spending before it happens. Ramp makes expense reports a breeze by automatically collecting receipts and matching them to the right transaction. You'll close your books in hours instead of days. Ramp allows you to see all of your company spend in one place, so you can make quick, informed decisions about your business finances. Plus, Ramp will share insights based on your spending to help you cut costs. Over 15,000 businesses have added up to 5% to their bottom line with Ramp. You can be one of them. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. Now back to Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back in. 7:35 on a Tuesday morning. Time for Sam. Sam McCune, the Omaha World Herald, joins us. Good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning. I'm all right. How are you doing?
Good. Hey, I want to pick your brain here because you're into this. You're a historian. The most iconic Sports Illustrated cover, in your opinion, is, and then if you had to rank the covers that Nebraska has been on, where would you start?
If you had to rank the covers that Nebraska's been on, the number one cover for Nebraska is the Nebraska-Oklahoma cover in 71, for sure.
I would agree with that.
To me, that's the most iconic one for Nebraska. Of course, Nebraska wins that game, and so it makes it sweeter. There's obviously been some good ones of Nebraska players, and not recently. I think the most recent one was Jarrett Crick.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. The new move to the Big Ten, new bullies of the Big Ten.
Yep. So he was on that. Iconic. I don't know exactly all of them. Certainly, there's been many over the years. Athletes who've died or famous moments. So. I think everybody's probably got their personal favorites. My personal favorites are all related to the Bears. So
yeah,
they had a bunch of them. They did.
They
had a ton back in the 80s. So they had one where there's a cover where they beat Dallas 44-0 in their 85 Super Bowl year. And that, to me, that's just the most. They beat them in Texas Stadium 44-0. The most dominant performance in Bears history, other than the 72-0 win over Washington back in the day. So, or 73, I can't remember what the score was, but there's a lot of Bears covers over the years that I've loved. I'm sure there's been some Royals covers that were pretty cool too. And Nebraska ones are great, the Osborne one, but I think the Nebraska-Oklahoma one, that's the one that I'm always drawn to when I go up to the press box because they have them all up there.
Hey, so let's we'll wind our way into some Nebraska talk, but I want to go college football. What's your read on the activity of Ohio State in the portal with the haul that they have picked up over the last few weeks?
They have money. They definitely have a lot of money, and they do have money. Like Ohio State's a huge university. Anybody who's been to the stadium there and around the campus, you're like, man, there's a lot of money here. So I think, that they're kind of like the Empire and they're striking back. This is what they do. It's obviously Ohio State and Michigan are similar in their rivals. It's hard to explain how different those two schools are. It helps to go there and kind of see it firsthand, but they're different. They're very, very different schools. And so Ohio State has more money, in my opinion, to leverage as it relates to athletics. And I think their fan base is more devoted, to be honest with you, than Michigan's fan base. And so, this tracks. And they're certainly putting a lot of energy into it. I think they probably were kept from the college football playoff this most recent year because they just weren't quite good enough at quarterback. And they didn't go out and seek anybody in the offseason. They chose to kind of stand pat. And what they've done in the offseason is they've said, obviously, we weren't good enough at that position, so we're going to add this guy, and then we're going to add multiple freshmen, and then they went out and got an NFL coordinator, and so Bill O'Brien's a great coordinator. Let's not kid ourselves. Let's set the whatever happened in New England aside. That has very little to do with him, and I don't really care what Jalen Milroe has to say about Bill O'Brien. So. It's a very, very good hire, and they're going to be, they've positioned themselves as the number one team in the country. I had them number one this coming into the season. They just weren't good enough at quarterback, and I think they've positioned themselves to be number one heading into next season.
Their defense is going to be insane in 2024.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be really good, and. Georgia obviously has a say in all those things. I think Michigan has to replace a ton, and Michigan has to wait. They have to wait for an answer from their head coach. Yeah. And you know what? They got a national title out of it. And so they're going to be happy for the rest of their lives. But what drama they have to deal with every single year with this guy.
Sam, and with what Ohio State has done, it always seems interesting to talk about Ryan Day's future and his job security. But, okay, now you bring in Bill O'Brien. Now you have the situation that I think at one point, at least we were all hoping Nebraska would have, and that being have the 5-star stud freshman quarterback, but also have sort of your bridge guy if Nebraska was able to land McCord. So you've got a lot of pieces in place. You've got a whale of a team coming back. And now with how the direction is, with maybe Bill O'Brien now joining the staff and having a true freshman quarterback stud waiting in the wings, do you feel that buys Ryan Day more time, or is this season has to be, all right, all of these things are in place. We need to see this team winning the conference and being right there square in the national championship picture. If that's not the case this year, what does that mean for Ryan Day, in your opinion?
Well, I think it'd be hard for a new AD like Ross Bjork to come in and just immediately make a change. I think it's probably a 2-year conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible that you can do it right away. Then it comes a question of who does he know, and who is he going to bring in that, his choices up to this point has been interesting. Obviously it didn't work with Jimbo Fisher, or maybe it would have worked. I don't really know. The bottom line is Fisher didn't have the whatever of the A&M boosters. So they went out and hired a guy that, I don't know. He doesn't jump off the page, but maybe he'll be a good fit down there as a defensive guy. That's probably what A&M has to be. That was their identity when they got good. Probably depends on who he knows, who they might bring in, whether Mike Vrabel goes and gets a job this offseason. Because I think Vrabel will be a very good coach for Ohio State. I think he'll be a very good coach in the NFL. So, there's that name out there that sort of looms. What do you do with him? Is he want to come to college? Does he want to do that? He may not want to. I think Day's got time, and to be very honest with you, I think they're going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
It's hard to assess where Michigan's going to be until you know who their coach is going to be and who's going to play quarterback for them. Nothing about J.J. McCarthy's backup jumped out to me. Now, maybe he's really, really good. Maybe he's, super, but nothing really jumped out. And then, Oregon is the other team, and Oregon has to make an adjustment to the league. And I was saying on one of our podcasts a couple weeks ago, the Pick Six, I just don't think most of the teams in the Big Ten are going to be afraid of Oregon. I don't. The Big Ten is an arrogant league. I don't think they're going to walk into games with some big psychological advantage. I really don't. I think Oregon's going to have to earn it. And I think in the Pac-12, they had gotten to that point where, they walked into a certain stadium. I think the teams they were playing were like, well, we're down 14-0 at kickoff, and Oregon's not going to have that advantage in the Big Ten. So, Oregon's probably the other team. Those are the big three. Washington's hitting a reset button. USC, I don't know. I'm not sure USC knows what it's going to do in the next 6 months.
How about UCLA might lose their head coach? I mean, Chip must want out of UCLA so bad that he's floating, or his agent is floating, OC offers from the NFL that would get him away from Westwood.
Yeah, I know. And what's interesting about that is if he had already left, UCLA would have went after the Jet Fish for sure, and he was a great fit at UCLA. So, and Chip may leave him high and dry. One of the challenges at all times with hiring Chip Kelly is precisely this. I mean, he did this. This is just kind of who he is. I think he's a hard guy to, he's helped them get sort of on solid footing. They haven't been a bad program at UCLA in the recent years, but they haven't been great either. And he's very liable to just walk away and go somewhere else. That would leave UCLA in a hard spot because I think the guy they would have hired just got hired at Washington. But there's options out there for them too if they want to pursue him.
Sam McCune of the World Herald joining us. So Polynesian Bowl wasn't a well-played game, but we watched, and that was probably the most extended time that people have seen Carter Nelson. We've talked about this a little bit during his recruitment, but now with, Glenn Thomas involved and the wide receiver / tight end room. What role do you see that Nebraska looks at Carter Nelson and says, boom, this is the guy for you? Because I asked that, Sam. Watching him, I see him closer to a wide receiver than a tight end.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I think you can make him an H-back, and bring him out of the backfield at times. I think you can flex him out. I don't think he's an inline guy. I think he's an athlete who can move all over the field as a chess piece and as a mismatch. And, Nebraska's going to have to work on that and get him to that spot. He's not quite as big as Fedoni. And so, Fedoni can be an inline blocker, and has been pretty good at that. He's a decent blocker. But I agree with you. I think Nelson can be sort of a weapon, an adjuster all over the field. Mike McNeil was kind of a blocker too, but Mike McNeil was more of a receiver. Kyler Reed, there you go.
Yeah.
And Kyler didn't do it. He was on the field. They had two tights and stuff, but Kyler Reed was good.
Yeah, he was. He just underutilized.
Yeah. So, ideally you want a player who can kind of do everything. That in the NFL, that's George Kittle. He can do it all. But, maybe Carter doesn't do as much in-blind blocking. And, I'm really interested to see how they use all those pieces. I really, really am. Certainly they have an admiration for the 49ers offense, and the 49ers offense is a lot of fun to watch because they do a lot of different things. On one play, they're going to be 5 wide, and on the next play, they're going to be, in 2 tight. So that's obviously where Nebraska wants to go. I think their new quarterbacks coach can dial that up too. He loves all that stuff. And now it's just a question of getting everybody on the same page and getting everybody to play together. We'll see what happens.
Sam, what was your takeaway from Preston Tamoa?
I thought he played fine. Like, it's always hard in these All-Star games. Offense, it's hard. They don't have much chemistry and much time to do much in those games. And so, the offenses are always a little bit challenged. I thought he's a giant guy, so the great thing they have is they have time. Every single offensive lineman they have that's young has time. They only probably have one more year of time, but they have time. And so, he'll have a year to prepare. He doesn't have to play right away. I mean, they signed, my goodness, they signed guys that, he just doesn't have to play. So he can come here and they can assess where his body fat is and where his strengths are and begin to shape him. So that's probably the best thing about his situation. And frankly, the situation of all the young linemen they have in the program on the offensive and defensive side.
They have 22 scholarships devoted to offensive linemen.
What's that?
They have 22 scholarships devoted to offensive linemen.
Yep, that or in kind. However they're playing it out with the NIL, but yeah, they've done a really good job of building their offensive and defensive lines, and I think NIL has helped them with that. And they could get this kid that just decommitted from Washington. He's a hell of a recruit. So
yes, he is.
They've done a really nice job in a short amount of time of creating power on the trenches, and now they just have to. Again, this is one of those things where you got to wait a couple of years in order for it to come to fruition. But I'm sure they feel really good about where they are right now in the offensive and defensive line.
Does Bricks play more than 4 games this fall?
Doesn't have to. No, I don't. I'd be surprised. Be really surprised. Now, injuries are injuries. So Ben Hart and Prohaska, if they get hurt, then we'll see. Otherwise, I think those two guys will be basically taking every relevant snap this season. And then you have Corcoran, as a third tackle. He can be a swing guard. He doesn't have to play all the time. That's probably good for Corcoran. He only hadn't declared for the NFL draft. He could have up until a certain point. Yeah. He never really said he was coming back.
No, he didn't.
But he didn't go to the NFL. So I assume he's there. So no, I think it's doesn't have to. None of them do. I think of the redshirt freshman linemen who might play. Sam Sledge is probably the closest, and then maybe Seagrave, the walk-on that they've put body weight on. So he's probably going to play at some point at Nebraska and potentially be a starter. So, yeah, I mean, I Bricks doesn't have to play right away. I'll be really honest with you. If you're asking me to grade who the best lineman is in that class, it is not him. It's Gibson Pyle. Now Bricks has more potential, and he can maybe play outside, but Pyle is really, really good. And I would anticipate Pyle also redshirting and having a chance to play next year. I mean, I think he could be an all-conference player by his third year. He has a lot of potential. So, and Bricks is a really good player, but I mean that's how much I think of Gibson Pyle. He will be in my Super Six.
See, you know what? I like where you're going there because I think he had a big senior year. I mean, I liked him when he committed, but he was dominant in his high school season. That you're right. That's probably one of those under the radar, really good pickups that will come to fruition.
Yeah. Yep. I think that one's a good one. I don't even try to figure out how recruiting works in Texas and who gets what offers and who doesn't. But he's a really good player. Again, and Evan wrote a great story on Grant. Grant Bricks needs to come and learn how to pass block. He hasn't really done it. I mean, he played for a team that run block 95% of the time. And so he's going to have to come and develop as a player and learn how to be in a completely different kind of offense. So that'll take some time. I think Pyle's a great recruit. I put him at the top of the offensive line recruits. I think Guthrie's the best defensive back recruit if he's healthy. I don't know. We'll see if he recovers. And I think Corey Barney is one of the 5 best recruits in the class. We'll have a story on him this week too. So, we all have our own different proclivities as to the things that we like, and those are some of the players that I like probably the most in the class.
Hey, Sam, and I know this happened after we talked to you last week, and then it became official on Wednesday, but that was the Glenn Thomas news being official. When you kind of look at just him pairing up with that quarterback room, I know a lot of connections can be made to what he can do with Dylan Raiola especially, but also just kind of the future of that room. What's the significance in your opinion, maybe the most significant part of the Glenn Thomas hire for that position?
I think you can break his role into sort of 3 components. The first component obviously being that he has to have a very, very high level of expertise in mechanical development of the quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. And so, can he take Dylan Raiola and maybe tweak some of the things that Dylan does without changing anything fundamental? Can he, look at what Heinrich Harburg does and fix some things there? Can he create more power for Danny Kaelin? Can he put 5 or 10 yards on Danny Kaelin's ball? Because you do that, and I think Danny's a really interesting player. He's accurate and smart and all the other things, but can you put a little bit more oomph on his fastball? So that's one component. Mm-hmm. The second component is, how does he fit with the offensive staff? And, I think he'll fit well, and how does he mesh with Satterfield, and how do maybe they come up with concepts that are effective not only for the quarterbacks, but for the passing game in general. I would say the thing that I liked about Nebraska's passing offense last year is they knew how to get guys open deep and create big plays. The thing that I didn't love is that they seem to have an underdeveloped sense of how to throw the ball on the quick smoke screens and the short stuff. Yeah. And then they really struggled with just quick passing game, being able to get 5 or 6 yards when it's available. The third component is recruiting. He needs to go get a quarterback, a good one, every single year. And if need be, he needs to be able to have enough relationships and connections within the sport to go get a transfer if that's necessary. So those are the 3 components. And I think the last of those, the recruiting piece, TBD. Yeah. That's the one that we need to watch. Matt Rule recruited Dylan Raiola in effect. And Matt can, Coach Rule can do that really well. And has recruited quarterbacks in the past, but Glenn Thomas, how well does he recruit will probably be the thing that I'll be watching coming up here in this before the season begins, because they're going to be recruiting for the next 6 months, and they should have a quarterback committed by the 4th of July, if not well before it.
Yeah, I agree. Sam, as always, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Sam McCune of the World Herald. They got a window here to recruit. So Tennessee, which already has a freshman who will be a sophomore next year, who's a 5-star guy that's going to be their starter. They went out and got another 5-star guy in the class of 2025. You have to build the best roster possible, and especially in the quarterback room. You're not searching for the next Dylan Raiola, who, is a 5-star guy.
No.
But you would like, you got to have a quarterback. You got a window to find the next Dylan Raiola that doesn't need to be a 5-star, but needs to be big time. Like Alex Mansky, now there's all kinds of competition for him. And before Dylan committed to Nebraska, I think, was in a really good spot, and they look at him and see as an NFL guy. What's he thinking? But Sam brings up a good point about finding a quarterback sooner than later for the class of 25. They need a quarterback for the team of 24 and another addition.
Right.
But a recruit, that's a priority. I don't care if they got their 3-year starter and he's a stud. They need to just build the best roster possible. And if they can get a quarterback that is willing to come here and compete, that is highly acclaimed, man, lock him down.
Yeah. Resetting that room too each year and being able to do that out of the high school, the actual high school method of recruiting as opposed to the transfer portal too, is something that I think we all know that Matt Rule wanted to do. And okay, now you've got that freshman. 3 years, to assume that, Dylan Raiola is going to be here for 3 years, that will go by quicker than most people think. And so this is one of those areas where it's imperative that whether it's Glenn Thomas, Matt Rule, Marcus Satterfield, whoever's involved, that you are able to reset that quarterback room every year to where you've got that freshman that is now starting to develop behind those guys. If Danny Kaelin is able to stick around the entire time, you've got that part of it too, where maybe he's there another year and you get him for a couple of years as developed into a starter. That would be the ideal situation. Is that the realistic situation?
Well, you'd like to
I guess
stagger.
we'll see.
You'd like to stagger.
Absolutely. You stagger that and you reset it every year.
Like if Danny Cannell, develops, but you don't have to burn his red shirt.
Yes.
Then that's ideal.
Right.
And whoever you bring in May that fits the role as a backup, that isn't, you don't have to worry about burning eligibility, and you still have Harburg as a wild card, you'd take that.
Yeah. You feel a lot better
you don't
about
get
that.
down to your 4th string quarterback.
Yeah, you feel a lot better about the quarterback situation. Again, just being able to reset it to where, you're staggering it. You can look at, okay, if Dylan's got the 3 years, Danny's still got 2 more years that he could be essentially the starter, given that he develops and he's patient with that process. But then you also have the next guy, as it's getting closer to Danny Kaelin's time, the next guy is developing behind them as well. And all of a sudden you've got that high school pipeline of quarterbacks as opposed to having to get desperate. And there might be a situation every now and then you have to go to the transfer portal, but being able to do that, very few and far between situations as opposed to what Nebraska's had to do the last couple of years. That's obviously where Matt Rule wants to be. And I think that's also going to be where Glenn Thomas's impact is.
Hey, I determined yesterday I would like to be Ed Foley. Ed Foley's
well.
Ed Foley, who's back out touring the 402. I know Rule tweeted at him subtly, hey, if you're in my town, the Rules live in Waverly. Stop it. That looked like a bar.
Yeah, like
a cocktail lounge
I think
or
I've
something.
been there. Yeah, I can't remember the name.
Most good places.
So,
except for one that's no longer there.
They don't claim it.
It's
on the outskirts.
It's just a stop off the exit there. Yeah.
See, I think I would trade places with Ed Foley. I thought about this. So Ed's got like one of the best gigs.
You like people? He likes people.
He gets to tour the state. He gets to meet people.
Shake hands.
Everybody looks at Ed and they go, look at him. He's got the rosy cheeks and he's a happy guy. And
everybody's friend.
Yeah, you know what? And they don't let him recruit. They like when they go to recruit like in-state guys and it's time to lock it down, Ed Foley isn't in the picture. So Ed Foley's got a good deal. Hey, I'll be meet and greet. I'll just drive around the state in my pickup truck and I'll just sign autographs.
Sometimes you have people in various workspaces that are, either the receptionist or the office manager, and sometimes they call him like the director of first impressions. Is that what Ed is?
Yeah.
He's the director of first impressions.
Yeah. But here's the other thing that I would like to trade places with Ed Foley. And hey, Ed needs to be better in year 2. People, I had this discussion the other day with somebody. The starting punter in 2024 will be very interesting at Nebraska. There should be one hell of a competition in the spring and the fall for whoever is the starting punter at Nebraska. I don't think the 2-year starter is a guarantee that he'll be the starting punter. I hope not. I hope there's competition because they need to be better in that category. But here's the other thing I think about Ed Foley that I would change positions with him, because I like touring the state. I don't get out as much as I used to, but I like to go down and see my people in Beatrice, Auburn. I'll stop in Brownville. You know what? I'll just skirt through that part of the state. Make my way out like to York.
You got to get out to Martinsburg and go to Bob's.
I'll go all over the state. I could be the Ed Foley. But this is another thing I would like to be Ed Foley. You realize that there is only 2 coaches that every single day address the team.
2
Looking
coaches
at me puzzled.
2 coaches every single day that address
In the
Corey
game
Campbell?
of football. In the game of football.
Yeah, your strength and conditioning coach and your head coach.
Now I'm going to take him out on field.
Oh, wait.
on
Sorry.
field
Okay.
guys.
Yeah.
There are only 2 guys that in all the football operations during the season address the team every single day. The head coach and the special teams coach.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 guys that every single day will address the group, the team as a group. That's why I'd like to be Ed Foley. Ed Foley's got a really good gig.
I got you. It's like Rule, but without all the other stuff, and you get to go meet people and have good meals.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're the ambassador.
That's a good job. Yeah, there you go.
People see him at the game tonight and be like, let me take a picture with Ed.
Yeah.
You bet.
He's always in a good mood. He's always smiling. But there is a picture right now on the internet of people are wondering. So Nico Ottoman was on a visit this weekend, and they cleared out the N on the field. Ed Foley, so mom took the picture of Nico. People are wondering what Ed Foley is doing with his phone trying to take a picture. God, I love Ed.
Turns out he's at my wife's alma mater yesterday. All right.
I'll love Ed until the special teams are not better in the fall. But right now, I would trade places with him. He's got a good gig. He got a really good gig.
You get to a certain age, though, where those photos become a little more grainy. That whoever took the picture is at a certain age. You see a certain picture and you're like, oh, wow, was that someone that was 50 plus? Then it gets a little bit more grainy at 60.
Does he strike you as a one-take guy when he's traveling
Nope.
around? He's taking pictures of gyms and outside of high schools. You
No.
think he's a one-take guy?
No, he's a multiple take guy. He's like, oh, wait. Oh, my
thumb.
My thumb was in the way.
I forgot to turn the phone sideways.
My thumb was in the way.
All right, a little bit later, Brian Christopherson stops by Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. Getting into the 8 o'clock hour here, and we have some heavier traffic I-80 eastbound between 84th and 60th, as well as westbound I-80 between 42nd and 84th, and things moving a little bit slow as well, JFK northbound between Chandler and I-80, as well as Dodge eastbound between 180th and 144th. It's still slick out there, especially with some snow falling in parts of the metro. Be safe and wear those seatbelts. I'm Peter Krenzer.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Zoom Drain.
Dealing with any type of plumbing issue can be overwhelming, especially if it's related to your drain or sewer lines. Thankfully, Zoom Drain specializes in drain and sewer services of all scopes. Contact Zoom Drain anytime by logging on to zoomdrain.com.
It's the most time-honored tradition to start the weekend, grabbing a cold one from a local Nebraska brewery. Let's be real here. It's cold outside, and you don't want to drink the same boring beer as those Hawkeye fans. Drink Nebraska brewed beer, cider, or seltzers instead. Each week, we're putting the spotlight on a unique Nebraska brewery with One Beer Friday. Share your brew on social media with the hashtag One Beer Friday, and you'll be entered to win a $25 gift card to a local Nebraska brewery. Nebraska is the good life with great beer. Click nebraska.beer to learn more.
1620 The Zone is on location Friday, January 26th at American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska in support of the Creighton Pinkout Game, a free home away from home for cancer patients and caregivers. You can find details on 1620thezone.com and at cancer.org/pinkout.
Email us on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever is on your mind. Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me, Gary, at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
Hi, everybody. Kent Pavelka here with why I chose Everlevel Concrete Repair for my driveway. They do it all. They fix cracks, lift sunken slabs, protect the finished product from deterioration, and all at a fraction of the price of replacement. It's not a Band-Aid like other repair methods. Everlevel's products are designed to last, which is why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Better yet, it all comes with a transferable warranty. Protect your concrete before winter. Call Everlevel today for your free inspection. Everlevel. They make your driveway Everlevel. Level up.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
If you're looking to get a new car, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive. Sure, you love your old car, but you know it's not normal to give instructions on how to open the window. It should be self-explanatory, but it's not. And notice how when you're in other people's cars, you can feel cushion in the seats? That's pretty nice, right? No, it's just normal. So bundle your renter's and car insurance with Progressive and put the savings toward a new car. It's time. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, I'm going to help both of you guys out. You use Uber Eats very often?
Hey guys, this your headline, by the way, if you're watching us on Zone TV. I was going to ask you about this. So what?
So a buddy of mine,
there's a story behind this.
For some weird reason, was hungry the other day, and he wanted McDonald's. Okay, that's, I get it. And he was watching kids, so he didn't want to load up the car and head to McDonald's.
Understandably.
So he ordered McDonald's, and for some reason, he ordered filet of fish.
No.
And
still a thing.
To his shock, and I'm like, what are you thinking? He said, filet of fish does not travel well with Uber Eats. No, duh. Yeah, use duh. The fact that you would think that filet of fish that is good, but you got to eat it right away, especially in store.
Yeah.
They're thinking that delivered would have the same kind of taste. It's like fries. Fries don't travel well with Uber Eats. If a place is known for the fries and you're like, oh yeah, I gotta have them,
you need to go there.
They don't travel well with Uber Eats.
I would say the majority of fried food doesn't travel well with Uber Eats in my experience. Like Uber Eats, I anymore, or DoorDash, I use in a absolute desperation type scenario. Like if there is just no way I can get into my car and get out to whichever establishment that I'm craving at that moment, then okay. Like I can count on one hand how many times that we've done DoorDash or Uber Eats, and every time we've used it, it's been more room temperature. It's lost its texture. And yes, I think there was one time that we did get, I think we got Wingstop one time, and I got the fries, and
nice
the fries were soggy. The wings they weren't undercooked, but they were not nearly as hot as they should be. And like, there's just certain things you just enjoy that much better. It was not good. And so everything that I've ever gotten has always been, you got to take it down a few degrees, and from fried food texture wise, it's going to lose a lot of it. And so fish, that wouldn't even be that wouldn't be under consideration for me.
See,
if I was craving fish, I'd have to go out and get
I'm
it.
on a battle with Uber Eats. Like, I like to go in person. You know, I don't know why they got to immediately go to the front of the line if I'm there
agree.
making the effort to be in person.
I'm with you.
So the Uber Eats people that I've run into at a couple of different establishments of late have been awful rude and pushy.
Mm-hmm.
They try and cut the line. And I'm like, you know what? I was here.
Yep.
I'm not going anywhere. I know you got to make a living, chase the bag, but I'm here. They should wait on me first. But somehow, most places, Uber Eats gets, because, you know, they come in with
priority.
their phone out. They're like, are you Ted?
Yeah. Are you so-and-so? Yeah.
It's over there.
Yeah.
No, wait on me. That's all I ask.
There was I don't know if it's gotten better. I don't want this was over a year ago, but there's a Chipotle out in Northwest Omaha. We'll just keep it at that. They were insanely busy one night. It was I think it was just like a Thursday night, just insanely busy. I went in to go get it because like the wait time, like if you tried to order on their app, was like an hour and a half. I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. So I went in and the line wasn't that long, but nobody was actually dining there. Everybody was sitting in the booth because they were all waiting for their food. And the amount of DoorDash and Uber Eats people that were there and getting priority and stuff, you could tell people had been waiting for their food that had ordered like me, like coming up on a 45 minutes, and then people would just roll in and grab their bag. And that what was going on. You could see you had half of the group working on the door delivery ones, and then the other half were working on the
go to a Chinese restaurant on Christmas.
Oh, well, I'm sure. I felt really bad for the workers because I'm sure that's the protocol they have. That's how they're trying to expedite the process. But everybody's watching them and they can see exactly how it's working. They see their food's not being made yet. The Uber Eats are getting priority, and it was just pissing everybody off. Oh, it was an absolute dumpster fire of an operation.
Texter Rachel says soggy fries plus air fryer. Money.
Air fryer will, yes, so that's the good thing. If you need to rejuvenate, resuscitate those fries, there you go. Air fryer might be one of the best things. I'm really looking forward
I like to
this.
give mouth to mouth to resuscitate the fries.
Resuscitate those fries. Resuscitate the crispiness, Gary. Now, this is something that I'm looking forward to doing. I'll probably do it on the Super Bowl. Air fryer nachos. It's as easy as just putting the chips into the air fryer. And then you put you can put pico on it. You can put beans, beef, everything. You put it in for about 5 minutes. Cool. Pull it out. Anything you want to keep cool.
Tonight, Jimmy will be on the airways 6 to 7. What do you got coming up on that little call-in? I know you guys don't call.
Oh, we don't take
six-pack of soda. Sorry, that still got me laughing. Anything you want to keep cool, Tommy.
Oh, we'll talk about what happens after you have a 3 overtime game. How long was the nap? How good was the meal? Does Mac have his voice back?
How are the legs?
Has John forgiven the refs for Saturday?
I think Xavier's a good matchup for Creighton, coming off a 3 overtime game. So, if you're going to the game, you got to be in your seats and watch. The Muskies like to run down the floor. Now, they're 8.5-point favorites, Creighton, but Xavier beat the snot out of Seton Hall, and they've been competitive, even though their roster seems like every offseason it gets decimated. Desmond Claude is a really, really good player. He's a sophomore, but they play a rapid pace. So you could say, well, what if guys are tired? Get out of here. These guys are 22, 23. They're built for that. If Sean Miller's team was super physical, I would be more concerned. I think this is a better matchup coming off a game where a Shireman plays 55 minutes than it would be if you're playing like a St. John's that is going to come in here and just try and maul you and beat you up. Because, there is the part of the physical, Kalkbrenner said yesterday was the first time that he could close his mouth with his jaw that got popped. I don't know. This is a game that if it doesn't turn into rec ball, which Xavier sometimes does, then I like Creighton to cover tonight.
Yeah. I like Creighton 88-73.
I would also.
Whoa,
yeah.
That's a huge number.
I know.
Put some respect on Sean Miller.
And I do think they pull away lately, but what you're saying, better game for them. Take care of business and get some rest for the scrimmage with DePaul on Saturday.
Yeah, the only thing from a fatigue standpoint
get a run in
that I would be worried about, regardless of style tonight, would be something that Creighton has experienced in the last month. Now, in the last week, not as bad, but the last month, and that's the turnovers, where sometimes when you're fatigued a little bit, you are. I like the fact that Creighton can go up against a team that also wants to run.
Thing. These guys are 21, 22, 23.
No, but
They're
I'm saying if
fine,
there's something that fatigue could
Extra shot of espresso before
if there's something that if there is any type of fatigue, if there is any lingering effects from a quick turnaround from a 3 overtime game, maybe it is not necessarily their legs as opposed to being kind of sloppy with the basketball, because they have shown that even when they're not necessarily fatigued at all, that has been an issue. That would be my only concern. As far as the styles, yeah, go ahead and try to run with Creighton. Good luck with that.
They'd rather do that.
Yes.
Well, that's what Xavier. That's what they do.
Yeah, exactly.
Please?
That's
Like
what I'm saying. I love that part of the match.
So, like compared to Nebraska, who should never run with anybody, Nebraska takes about 16 seconds per possession. Xavier in the first, I don't know, by far the first 8-10 seconds of the shot clock, there's a shot going up.
And I think I'm perfectly fine with Creighton playing in that type of style where a team does pretty much the same thing or wants to do the same thing that you want to do and get transitional points. But I don't worry about the legs as much as I do of if Creighton, if this thing is a game in that last media timeout, I would say it's because we saw the turnovers again. It's because Creighton was sloppy with the basketball and Xavier was able to capitalize. If Creighton is even at 10 or less, I think they're fine. I think they cover. I think they pull away. I think by 6 minutes, hay's in the barn. I think you're good.
All the hay outside the chai and all our farm fields that we have out there.
Might start smelling like manure again.
You guys talk about this last week because I was not on the show. What UConn tweeted out after they beat Creighton?
No, I did not. I did not see what UConn tweeted out.
So that's been the thing so they don't really get us here. You know,
because they think they think we're
understanding what goes on here. They seem like when they beat a team like from Philadelphia or New York City, they don't tweet out the same stuff. I'm curious as to why they don't do that. But they tweeted out harvested a win.
That's not nice.
And it had Huskies, and then it had corn cobs that spelled out WIN.
Well, joke's on them. It's not even harvest season.
They don't even know when harvest is.
Yeah,
learn your agriculture.
If you do that during harvest season, okay, maybe.
Let's be honest. They probably think we're in the South.
They all got accents.
Yes.
Man, I thought Coach Mack would have more of an accent than that. I heard him during the post game. That's weird.
How come their coaches don't wear overalls?
Because their mascot does.
Now that would be cool. And the blue crew, you leave it up to them.
Good on immediately. People were like, "You're 2-6 against Creighton."
The first
from a Nebraska fan, not Creighton. Congrats! I love everything about this.
Yeah.
Corny.
See you in Omaha, an actual city.
Don't worry, you won't have the home cooking no calls for you on the road in Omaha. John Bishop is tweeting at the Connecticut basketball account.
John, don't hit sand, man.
Much like Gonzaga, I've never met a Creighton alum. Must be a money laundering scheme.
What?
Wow.
Jeez.
Just Narcos Omaha?
Wow.
Yeah, these are
Lord.
So immediately got to read the replies. Check your team mascots nicknames versus East Coast snobs. All right, way to go, Dave. Dave is fighting back, trying to protect the people that are here in the Midwest. I wonder if he'll be protecting DePaul. So Tony Stubblefield got fired. Again, I said this earlier. If you spotted DePaul 25 points in every Big East game they played this year, they'd still be in 10th place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a little bit rough. But you know it's bad in college basketball when you make a mid-season move.
Yeah, they can't wait.
Usually you wait until the end of the year.
Yep.
Even if it's already the writing on the wall, because this is what's going to happen. Jimmy has called it a scrimmage on Saturday night.
Absolutely.
They'll wear
Get
real
your steps
uniforms.
in. Yeah.
But if you're on that roster and you know that a coach is going to come in and probably be a Mr. Portal guy and completely turn over the roster,
audition.
You're basically playing for tape. You are playing for tape for the rest of the year.
Yep.
Good luck to the interim coach. I feel you, man. Your administration put you in a bad spot. Or they're already in a bad spot, but now we might find out even more that you fired a guy 18 games into the season.
Yeah.
He already knew he was done.
Yeah.
But 18 games, you got rid of him. It's not like you can get a head start on who's going to be your next head coach,
right?
Because more than likely that person is coaching. And I think for DePaul fan, you hope that he's coaching into March.
Right.
And it must have been really, really bad behind the floor.
Like,
Yeah,
dudes
we
are ready to quit.
get rid of an alum like Tony, a UNO alum like Tony Stubblefield.
I remember we talked to Matt DeMarinis about this and brought up what type of a job that will be, and at what point do we, turn our attention fully on the candidates and the possibilities there. And I remember him saying too, it'd be very, very rare. And I think, I agreed too, of making a midseason change, because I always think when you do make a midseason change like that, for two reasons. One, you're trying to send a message to your team that you deserve better than this, but also to your fan base that you deserve better than this. And then I guess there could always be that third option where there's something that's going on internally with that particular head coach. And I think this is just an absolute dumpster fire of a product, is what that was. So
I think you're being kind. I think you are.
That's being offensive to dumpster fires?
They're 52 and 244 since they've been in the Big East.
That is.
If you hire the right guy that taps into Chicago and has that.
But Jimmy, you're
that's
repeating the line you're supposed to for the last 6 hires.
That's what I want to know. And that's what I remember talking to Matt about this too, is what type of resources, what type of commitment does the university and its athletic department put into the basketball product? Because Jimmy, I'd be with you there. I mean, given
In
where
theory,
they are
it
in
should
Chicago,
be a good job.
But is there that
nobody wins?
Is there that sense of urgency to elevate that program considerably, or to just not be as bad as they've been? There's a big difference there.
No. If you have a president that is committed to basketball and will do anything possible to back that commitment up, you may have a chance. But here's the problem:
is that the case? That's my question. Is that the case at DePaul?
People that cover DePaul say the new president, who probably was just waiting out a guy that he didn't hire, that he was not around for the hire.
Yeah.
I mean, it came down to Tony Stubblefield, or you know who the other candidate was?
Don't remember.
John Shire.
Oh,
it's like when Missouri hired Quinn Snyder instead of Bill Self.
Oh,
so apparently they have a president that is into basketball and realizes that DePaul needs to win in men's basketball. They're building a brand new practice facility. They're playing south of the campus. They, Alumni Hall, they can't play. I mean, that's disrespectful to the Big East to have men's basketball in there.
Yeah.
So the Rosemont Horizon, they're not going to. They're playing at Wintrust. Nice place, but still a ways away from campus. Here's the problem is in the Big East and in the NIL world, they are lacking. So there are 6 programs in the Big East that their budget is more than $2 million. The DePaul NIL fund is $200,000.
Oh my God.
That is brutal. I don't know how you operate when your NIL is $200,000 at a school in Chicago that is trying to keep their head above water in one of the most difficult leagues in all of college basketball. So it kind of is a make or break hire, but they said that a lot in Chicago.
You actually have to do it.
The thing about hirings and getting NIL involved, you have to make boosters want to boost.
Right. Exactly.
So if you hire a guy and he's just a guy and he's not somebody that, gets people excited and sells a vision, and the booster who, I want you to boost, sees that vision, and man, you got nothing. And you're just, you're going in circles again. So this is my opinion for DePaul is a make or break. The thing about DePaul is the Big East has shown we don't need Chicago. Okay. We're fine without DePaul rising up. I mean,
if you do
we'll take care of UConn. We got Villanova. Creighton is taking care of the Midwest. It's nice that Shaka's got things going at Marquette.
Yep.
DePaul, yeah, you're in the league. It's a nice stop off. People go to Chicago.
Yeah, people like to go to Chicago.
CBS Sports Network gives you a 2-hour infomercial.
Yeah, that number is astonishing, considering where NIL is right now, and you're expected to compete in this world of athletics with 200,000 as far as a collective. Oh my gosh! So I go back to the commitment that this university would have into its basketball program. But you're right. I mean, this is now going to come down to how involved do you want to get into the collective? Because there's hey, every university, they have an alumni base. Don't hear as much about the DePaul alumni base as far as what their overall support is of the basketball product, but that's huge. Like not being able, I mean, even to be able to triple that number, even to get to 1 million would be a step in the right direction. Because when it comes to that type of talent that you have right in your backyard, but the recruiting battles that you're going to be up against, there's no way you can compete with that. And so this is where, and this is such an interesting time to be a college coach, where in order to feel like you're going to have a successful run, like this is going to be the job for you, you not only have to sell your team and sell the fan base on it and the athletic director who's going to hire you, but you have to make sure, probably more importantly, that you have any type of alumni base that is going to follow you, that is going to be a part of this, because you cannot even get thinking about even making yourself as a 500 team in the conference if you don't have that type of support and that type of money to work with to compete with those teams.
Into the Equitable Bank inbox, Gary at 1620thezone.com. I think his name's Harvey. Harvey says, as a diehard Louisville fan, this is allowed? I think I got Kenny Payne for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Now, some of the names that are thrown out there, like, okay, so this is an important thing to remember. You got to make boosters want to boost.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can't just say, "Hey, it's Trev. Hey, we got a rush in on campus. We need 100K."
Dude, just
and that
have some
booster goes, the best pass rusher Nebraska's had of late still has an opportunity to play in the Super Bowl. Is his name Randy Gregory? No, his name is Keona. Call me back later. So some of the names that are out there, like if you're a DePaul fan, does Josh Schertz get you excited?
For insurance, maybe.
Now, he's a good coach.
But is it a name that...
You guys know where he's at?
No.
So he's at Indiana State.
Okay.
He's doing pretty well. Josh Schertz. I remember they had Oliver Purnell. They had Dave Lato twice. Josh Schertz. Now, one name that was immediately mentioned that I think there's not a chance in HE double hockey sticks is Will Wade. Who ironically last night, McNeese State got to 17, 18-2.
Yeah.
You'll have his pick later.
Well, his pick will be Louisville.
What about Bryce Drew?
Yeah, that's a popular name that I saw a lot yesterday.
From Grand Canyon, and you might have it good there, but...
I'll give you two guys. One, for some reason, Bobby Hurley, with a lot of the national guys that know Hurley, attached his name to DePaul right away. That's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting enough that I'd kick the tires.
Arizona State is okay this year.
Yeah.
Now, there is a domino.
I know what you're getting at.
There's a domino if Bobby Hurley leaves Tempe. Greg McDermott is in play for Arizona State. But I don't know why Bobby Hurley would go to DePaul. So he wants to be in a conference with his brother?
Yeah.
I don't see that. But I'll give you another local connection to that job who probably in the industry and what they need, you pause and go, oh, okay. But in Chicago, it's probably like, who in the, get me Rod Strickland over this guy. Alan Huss, who was on Mac's staff, who has gone to High Point, has been very successful, knows how to recruit. He's at a place, actually, that may have more money to play with than DePaul, which is wild, but that's High Point. He was one of the first guys I thought of just because of his ability to attract players. I don't know if he'd be attractive to DePaul. I don't know where they're going to go. I mean, they go a name, they go a mid-major guy. I think they need to shoot for the moon and not return the phone calls of Tom Crean, who probably would walk to Chicago to get that job.
Yeah.
Great idea. I wouldn't be surprised to try and appease a small fan base if they swing for the fences. If they put together this big, maybe unattainable financial package, and they go after a big time name, and even if they strike out, their fan base goes,
they're serious ones. Okay.
Yeah. But then maybe they pivot back to a very successful mid-major coach. because I don't think they can go the route of a high major assistant unless they have a direct connection to the city of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other thing is, this has been going on for a while. The ground got scorched with some of the missteps by coaches there in recruiting Chicago. Like in the Catholic League, some of the burbs, they got a bad rep and coaches haven't been able to overcome it. So I'll be curious to see where they go. But man, it had to be really, really bad to get rid of a guy mid-season.
What about Tim Miles? Bring a little energy back to the program too there, huh? There's a guy that can talk to people outside of just the program itself. No, he's not a name that I even think would be considered for that job right now. Or at least, I don't know if he would want that, but I'm trying to think of people who could sort of energize.
I think Tim Miles wants Colorado State. Go back to Colorado State.
Yeah.
When Nico Medved gets an opportunity somewhere else.
Nico Medved goes to DePaul.
I wouldn't go to DePaul.
I just, for a place that, again, I go back to this feeling like a program that, given where they're located, but the amount of interest and financial investment into the program and the future success that they could potentially ever have is astonishing to me. And I guess that's just what a long track record of losing does. People become so disinterested that they do not want to invest into the program unless they feel that there is a significant reason to do so. And it probably goes back to your original point. That's why this hire is so huge for them. If they are to even get out of the bottom portion.
You're in a league in the Big East in basketball. How many programs with their current head coach outside of DePaul, or like a trend here, have had missteps and they haven't been able to fix it? I always talk about college football is one hire could erase a couple of bad hires.
Yeah.
I've seen that personally.
Okay, so look at Providence. They go from losing Ed Cooley.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that was the identity of Providence was Ed Cooley. I think they made a good transition to Kim English. Now their roster is becoming depleted here, so they might crash and burn this season. But
he's the right guy, though.
Yeah, like Barry Collier at Butler, he transitioned from Brad Stevens to Chris Holtman. Then he went from Chris Holtman to Lavelle Jordan, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And now they're on to Thad, who, I don't know, Butler's a weird team. I don't know what Butler team is going to show up. Look at Marquette. Woj didn't work out there.
Mm-hmm.
They hit a home run with Shaka.
Yep. Which, again, timing of that was perfect.
Seton Hall. Kevin Willard was good at Seton Hall. I think he kind of wore out his welcome. And then they kind of got lucky because St. Peter's goes on this run, and that guy's in your backyard, and you're like, oh, this is a no-brainer.
He's one of you.
And he's turned out. Because I think they made a really, really good hire. I mean, Seton Hall is legit. Are they competing for the top? Probably not, but they're going to be middle of the pack, and they're not going to be a layup when you go out there to play.
Yeah.
And then Georgetown. Georgetown's hoping that Ed Cooley fixes a couple of bad hires.
And again, I think there's a lot of reason to believe that too. Just given not only his reputation as a head coach, but also a head coach in that league. And so erasing what was I think a very frustrating and embarrassing moment for Georgetown with having Patrick Ewing, one of your most proud alum, not being able to work out other than that brief moment, the little 2-week stretch there that you had in March during the COVID year. And I don't know if anybody would look at that and say they don't feel confident that Ed Cooley will work out of Georgetown. So this kind of goes back to the significance of, if you are to become stable in the Big East, not be a punching bag, not be a doormat in the Big East, how important it is on so many levels for DePaul. Because you're right, they don't need Chicago, but if you can get the Chicago market going again, not to be like at the level of UConn right now or Creighton even, but just to be sort of that middle tier Big East team that, just like some of those other teams right now, like the Butlers, like what Creighton's going to face in Xavier tonight, that on any given night, you better bring it, because they're equipped to take you down.
Chris Collins is the best coach in Chicago. Northwestern's a better program than you are. That's a little tough to take if I'm an alum of DePaul.
They've already got
Tom Kleinschmidt ain't walking through that door anytime soon.
I don't even know who that is.
He was like one of their last really good players.
Okay. Yeah. It's
like Mark Aguirre, but yeah.
I get a lot of like Chris Mack.
Mm-hmm.
Probably need a guy with an edge, a guy that's got a big personality, a guy that's able to stand up to the Hurleys and the Macks in this league.
Walks in there confidently,
goes toe to toe, and I think a name. So it didn't work out at Louisville, but hey, Chris Mack was pretty good at the school in Cincinnati that is in this league. So like Cincinnati's smart. Like Cincinnati went from a coach they liked that was successful, that brought them attention, to Sean Miller. But I don't know what they're going to do at DePaul. But if they say that we want to be committed to basketball, I got to see some numbers. I got to see some cash.
Yep.
Because cash can tell me you're committed to basketball. You can't live in a world in the Big East where your NIL is $200,000.
Had this been 2 years ago, could they have gone after Patino?
Nebraska softball, their NIL pool is larger than $200,000.
Believe it.
Nebraska softball. Now, granted, they have one of the best players in the country.
Yeah.
And actually, I have two, and Billy Andrews as well with Jordy Ball. But your NIL is larger than a school where basketball is their sport.
Yeah, a high major college basketball
Basically,
program.
like, do you want to win or not? This is what it's going to take.
Yeah, in a big boy conference like that. That's just astonishing.
You know who, if he had not like come to Nebraska and he was kind of sitting on the beach still, but doing a little bit, Fred Hoiberg would be ideal for DePaul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he'd been out of the game for a while.
That was the Chicago area.
Yeah, still in the Midwest.
Yep.
Can still recruit, name, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Miles would be interesting, but I don't think they'd be interested in Tim. He's a program builder, but the problem with Tim looking for another job is they had a significant injury, so they haven't been able to match what they did last year. So he might be stuck at San Jose State for another year.
High cost of living.
I'm still amazed by how little goes into DePaul basketball. And that this is, again, what's the head coach going to be tasked with?
Could be a good job.
You see coaches now not only having to recruit, but recruit, the boosters now and employing the public to donate to their collective. Do we know what the DePaul collective is even called?
I don't know.
Neither do they.
That's
good point.
That's the problem there, Jimmy.
All right, BC's coming up top of the hour. A little NFL news for the second straight year. The Eagles will have new offensive and defensive coordinators. They have moved on from their OC. They're having a press conference tomorrow. The owner and Nick Sirianni together. Oh, geez, I'm going to stream that thing.
Someone should ask him about Embiid. Just mix it up.
No, what they should do is they should just ask him about shirtless Jason Kelce.
Yeah.
You sure he's done?
Is he done? Is he having more fun being a fan of the Chiefs and a podcaster than playing for you guys?
He's actually already a season ticket holder for next year for the Eagles.
All right, 8:37. BC, top of the hour. Plus, it is Hall of Fame day. Adrian Beltre will get a call and go to the Hall. But the percentage of votes that he's going to get, it may rival Jeter. Yes, Jimmy, you gave me that look. Timing is everything. And who else is on the ballot?
Yeah.
You can't put Jeter and Mariano together.
Yeah, very true.
Oh, man, you can't put Beltre and Mariano together. I know that people come out of the woodwork now talking about Derek Jeter and his career. But Beltre is going to get a huge number. He's going in. That's a no-doubter. Just like Ichiro will next year. Ichiro might be a 99% guy.
Yep.
When he's up for the Hall of Fame next year.
And the only reason he won't be, that's because one, they're going to see that, but also because he did exist during the steroid era. He existed. So
there are no steroids in that body.
Can't vote for him because he actually played in that era. So nobody is above that suspicion.
Ichiro?
No, he is.
No. During the steroid?
Well, with performance enhancing drugs, he played in that time when there was still PEDs that were taking place. Sorry, not in the juiced era of McGuire and Canseco and stuff, but no, in the PED era for sure.
Okay. We'll get into all that as we roll till 10. Hey, if you have been watching the NFL playoffs from the sidelines, it's time to get into the action because we're down to the final four. You can get into the game with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers bet this Sunday's conference championship games going to give you $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Now, FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up a W.
Yeah, and if you want to take a look at some of the picks this weekend, again, Baltimore is a 3.5-point favorite over Gary's Chiefs, but also the Niners game. That has moved a half a point in favor of the Niners from 6.5 now to 7. And if you can get started with $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet, just visit FanDuel.com/zone and join today. That's FanDuel.com. Use the promo code ZONE. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Previously on The Crossover.
If we're going to treat weather like sports, why don't we have gambling on the weather?
Great idea.
Why are our friends at FanDuel not setting an over-under on the temperature, and we're like weighted with bating breath all day if it's going to get up to
Over-under
like
on temperatures is a great idea.
Plus 350 for an anytime snowstorm.
A same-day parlay. Are we going to get both grapple and snow today?
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620. The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
A light wintry mix possible Tuesday morning. Watch out for slick spots during the AM drive. Otherwise, expect areas of fog throughout the day. Cloudy with highs in the low to mid 30s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center, some heavier traffic I-80 eastbound between 72nd and 60th right now in the 8 o'clock hour, and things moving a little slow Dodge eastbound between 180th and 156th, as well as I-680 northbound between Pacific and Dodge. And if you're traveling JFK northbound, it might get a little bit slow around Chandler Road up to I-80. No accidents to report currently. Please be safe and wear those seatbelts. I'm Peter Krenzer.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Zoom Drain.
Zoom Drain's highly trained team of experts and our fleet of well-equipped service trucks are dedicated to providing solutions for homeowners, plumbing contractors, mechanical contractors, and business owners across many industries. Contact Zoom Drain anytime by logging on to zoomdrain.com.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is your home for the big game. Whether it's the NFL or a rivalry on the hardwood, you will find all the action on Oscar's top-of-the-line audio-video system. With 40 TVs and massive dual projectors, the game has never looked better. Pair that with their award-winning char-buffed wings and $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has everything you need. 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Woodhouse Hyundai offers a streamlined car buying experience tailored to you. Browse our current offers and save up to $12,000 off the 2024 Hyundai Ioniq 5 Limited. And when you shop Woodhouse Hyundai, you can rest easy with Hyundai Shopper Assurance, America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Start your deal online at woodhousehyundai.com today. With approved credit, tax, title, license extra. Must finance with Hyundai Financial and own competitive model. $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires January 31st, 2024. See dealer for details.
Rock from the darker side. Disturbed live. Get up, down with the sickness. Take back your life tour. January 29th. CHI Health Center Arena. New album, Divisive. Available now. With special guest, Falling in Reverse. And Plush. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Disturbed live.
This is a sale so hot, Standard Heating and Air can only do it once a year. Right now, buy a Carrier air conditioner from Standard Heating and Air and get a free furnace. Now, that's a hot deal.
StandardAC.com, where we do the things we do.
Carrier, turn to the experts. Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. The ugly truth is when you buy a timeshare, you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is, this never ends. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
Roofing, siding, and gutters. Make the right call with the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, double dose of hoops tonight. Both Nebraska and Creighton are favorites in their games. Nebraska plays at 6, and then Creighton goes at 7:30 downtown. Both are playing at home. One's on the Peacocker. The other is on FS1. If you would like to watch, Peacock's getting a lot of money from Nebraska.
Yes, they are. And you said, Ted, good?
Oh, yeah. Good for the whole family.
So I'll keep you there, even during the off season?
Oh, yeah. We're very sad when it ended last night.
Oh, you've ripped the rest of it.
You've ripped through the whole thing?
Oh, yeah. Couldn't resist.
What did you say, 7 or 8?
7 episodes.
7 episodes? Okay.
My abs still hurt from laughing. It was great. This is my
That's quite the
happy face.
endorsement there.
Yeah. It made me smile and laugh.
An ab
You know me,
crunching
there
time.
aren't a lot of things that do.
Yeah.
Well, that's good that you watched it last night because we got a problem in college basketball. Big Monday used to be pretty cool. You'd have the Big East, then you'd have the Big 8/Big 12.
It was the best.
Yep. Usually those Big East games go long and you have to wait for the Big 8 or Big 12 game to start.
I remember the bitching.
Then you'd have a West Coast Conference game.
Yep.
UNLV would always be playing at UC Santa Barbara.
Oh, yeah.
For some reason.
Might get a
Or
Gonzaga
New
game.
Mexico State.
The
Back
quantity of games are lacking on Big Monday these days.
That's sad.
So last night we got North Carolina and Wake Forest, which, man, if you want to fill out a bracket right now, you're going to probably have North Carolina going a long ways. They're loaded 1 through 5, and then you throw in Jones. When was the last time North Carolina, we're talking about North Carolina, had an All-American guard?
Did they not the year they finished runner-up?
You mean 2 years ago?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I think I said Jones. R.J. Davis.
Yeah, that's what I was
R.J.
thinking.
Davis.
Oh, it's
R.J.
before.
Davis is one of the best guards in the country.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's been
Baycott's still there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you've got
2 healthy ankles.
a couple of those guys from that team.
I see what you just did there.
even better, a healthy floor.
Make sure the floor doesn't
Yeah.
give way. You're good.
Right.
I bet it's been at least 15 years since North Carolina had an All-American first-team guard.
Hmm.
They got one this year. They're going to be a problem. But how about Wake Forest? Hunter South didn't go to Wake Forest not to go to the NCAA tournament. They're going to have to pick up some wins along the way.
Yeah, they're sitting at 13-6 now. Yeah. With that loss. ACC not as deep as the ACC always used to be, too. So you don't have the luxury of the strength of conference that you would have 5 years ago. Yeah, North Carolina, though, that team and being able to have a lot of those core guys back from 2 years ago and even losing Love. I was.
That was the best thing that happened to them is they lost Caleb Love.
Yeah.
Lawson, I think, was the last one.
Okay.
When was
09?
When was Forte?
Forte 01.
I bet it's been 20 years.
Wow.
Because he was first-team All-American.
Jesus.
R.J. Davis is going to be a first-team All-American. North Carolina, that's a good roster that they have. I mean, they crushed Wake Forest last night. I think Wake Forest is a good team. I think they got to help their resume. But they just destroyed them in that game. But the quantity of Big Monday games are not so good. We got to fix that.
What else did we have? Because I did, as soon as the Kansas game was over, I went to bed. Did we have a West Coast game last night?
No, we had Texas A&M Corpus Christi against McNeese State, which was
McNeese won
unbelievable
at the end. I saw that this morning.
And then you had the ACC game, and then you had the Big 12 game.
Yeah.
So it's Big Monday. We've punted, just like college football has given Thursdays to the NFL. We have punted Big Monday in college basketball. Every game should be played at the Carrier Dome, which is no longer the Carrier Dome. And then
McDonough, Raftery, and Billis.
Every game is at Allen Fieldhouse or at Gallagher Iba or Lloyd Noble.
And Higgy's officiating it. He just comes out of retirement for one game there, where he always has a welcome.
I mean, would you say it's because it's now ACC than Big 12 as opposed to Big East, Big 12? Because, those Big East games were a lot of fun. But when you had the ACC game leading in, when the ACC was deep, it was still enjoyable. Like, you'd get some good matchups on that Monday.
A basketball game back at the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse in Pittsburgh on ESPN at 6.
Jerome Lane.
With, what was Mike, not Mike Patrick.
Mike Patrick.
Well, there's another guy that's an East Coast guy.
Mike Gorman?
Mike Gorman.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Retiring as
Mike
the
Gorman,
TV voice of the Celtics after this year.
It's a very distinct voice. I miss Mike Patrick like crazy, by the way. But that was, that I always thought ACC.
That was Mr. ACC.
Yeah, that was ACC. No doubt. And for a good time, College World Series voice.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the nicest men I've ever met. There was the time where he and Sean McDonough were both doing it, and two of the very best. Totally different personalities. Very approachable, but totally different personalities. During commercial breaks, we would see smoke coming out of the press box because Mike Patrick would be taking a heater during the during the in between innings. It was great, but
very Jack Buck of him.
The memory that I have with Big Monday in its heyday was, you'd get ready for a fun K-State, KU matchup, or Iowa State, Texas, or something. A good matchup was probably a top 15. Both teams are probably, again, in the top 15, so it's going to be great. And so you were waiting, and it never failed. Those Big East games would take forever to finish. So then you joined it like in the first media timeout of the Big 12 game. But with the ACC not quite as deep anymore, and I just feel like they would always put the best ACC game on, wasn't it Thursdays?
Yeah, they had their own day.
Yeah, they would always put it on Thursday. So you wouldn't even necessarily get the marquee ACC matchup as opposed to later in the week if the ACC wanted to showcase it. So there's probably a little bit of that the build-in into the Big 12 game. But I think from what I've seen on the schedule here going forward, the Big 12 games, I mean, that's still like the Big 12's money night. Is if you're in the Big 12 and you're playing on Big Monday, then that's probably the marquee matchup of the conference, at least the weekday marquee matchup.
What if ESPN came to the Big East and said, we want your TV contract? Because the ESPN ignores the Big East. You don't ever see highlights of the Big East. Maybe, you get if you get UConn.
Yeah, they gave you UConn, Creighton the following day. That was the first college basketball game that they showed on SportsCenter.
But we'll give you the Big Monday slot, 7:00 East Coast time.
Done. How much?
Mm-hmm. So is the
you and I said this last year.
Yeah,
soon
the contract up next year. I mean,
Big Monday in the Big
they
O.
always negotiate a year ahead.
I think it'd be amazing to bring that back.
Be great for Omaha because
There'd
they'd
be big time money involved in that too. Yeah, that would be pretty sweet of having Creighton on Big Monday. Actually not just playing a Monday game, but just Big Monday.
You'd feel like even more that you've made it if you're Creighton.
Well, it would have that feel of the old Big East again too. With a little new twist of some of your.
Can they still play the games at the Carrier Dome, but it's not Syracuse playing?
Right. No, yeah.
It's called
still have the Pearl playing?
If you play on Big Monday, you should just have to, they'll just make that like the neutral site.
Boeheim could be one of the analysts there, and he can be
grumpy. God. Oh, please.
I've not seen him. How is he? Anybody seen him?
Nope.
I swear I've read something that he's doing well.
He was on
what did I read?
He was on a pre-game of some sort. It was this season. I'm trying to remember what
it was actually nice. So it's what
the overall form was.
Boeheim was on TV and he was nice.
That's what I
think. He was, because he was actually in the role of a member of the media. And so he
hasn't done any of their bigger games at all. I've not seen him all season long.
No, I
know they talk about him.
Yeah, the only time I saw him, it was a pre-game show, and I felt like it was back in December. So it wasn't anything recent.
Maybe it was the same thing. Yeah, because it was a while back.
Maybe it was tape. Are you sure it wasn't on Fox?
It was a taped halftime. Most likely.
File footage.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I you know what? It called me crazy. I don't care. I don't really care how he's doing.
Why is he talking to Beano Cook?
Oh, Jim had hair.
Now, I would watch that if Jim Boeheim
Beano.
was actually talking to Beano Cook.
I think that's
I
great.
would too.
I think I would tune in
I could talk about Ron Paulus
because I
the
would,
Heisman
I would
three
be
years.
quite confused.
I think it's great.
All right, Brian Christopherson's coming up next. The mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. Hey, if you're going to any of the games tonight, if you're going to the Nebraska-Ohio State games, so tickets available. If you're going downtown, tickets available. And the only place to go to get those tickets is ticketsforless.com. That's right. You never have to worry about per-ticket fees when you get to checkout. Go to ticketsforless.com right now. That's ticketsforless.com, or download the Tickets for Less app and find your favorite seats. You know, you probably use Tickets for Less to go see Pink at the Chuck in August. She had so much fun with all the Tickets for Less ticket holders that she's coming back to Nebraska in October. Get your tickets now at ticketsforless.com. Whatever you want to go see, you can find it on ticketsforless.com and the Tickets for Less app. And even more so, when you get to checkout, use the promo code THEZONE. Promo code THEZONE, and you're going to save even more. Never per ticket fees at ticketsforless.com and that very, very easily to use Tickets for Less app.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620 The Zone.
Hey guys, it's Nick Handley for Hims. You know, sometimes we make a bigger deal out of things that don't need to be a big deal, like when your team loses a preseason game. The same can go for problems in the bedroom, anxiety, depression, or if you're looking to take better care of your health in general. It doesn't have to be a big deal. In fact, actually, it's not uncommon. 52% of men over 40 experience some form of ED, and male pattern hair loss affects about 50% of men by age 50. Hims is ready to help you with a wide range of health problems that are not often spoke about, but fairly common. So whether you notice it some of the time or all the time, Hims can help. The entire process is 100% online, so the conversation stays between you and a medical provider you can chat with through Hims.com. Hims has helped millions of guys just like you get help for their health problems. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/start. That's hims.com/start for your free online visit, HIMS.com/START. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information.
The Blackstone Meatball is where casual charm meets culinary excellence. Our diverse menu offers comforting pastas, fresh salads, hearty sandwiches, and of course, meatballs. Elevate your experience with a craft cocktail or a glass of wine from our well-curated selection. Whether it's a laid-back lunch, a cozy date night, or a catered celebration, the Blackstone Meatball promises upscale flavors in a casual, welcome setting. Visit us at one of our 2 locations, the Blackstone District or just west of Village Point on 180th and Dodge, or visit theblackstonemeatball.com.
It's the last weekend to save. During 42 Degrees, buy one, get one 50% off sale on all pipes and premium THC flower. That's right. Buy one, get one 50% off on the largest selection of quality glass pipes and premium THC flower. Stop into any 42 Degrees location and talk to our knowledgeable, friendly, and professional staff and save with our buy one, get one 50% off sale. 42 Degrees. Buy your mom's house.
O'Reilly. Need a little help? O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. Need advice? We've got advice. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Exceptional customer service. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel, évidemment.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Start learning a language today at Babbel.com.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
1620 The Zone will be broadcasting live on Friday, January 26th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska, in support of the Creighton Pinkout game. Stop by and drop off a donation of paper products, gift cards, or cash to support cancer patients staying at the Hope Lodge, a free home away from home for cancer patients and caregivers who must travel to Omaha for their life-saving treatment. Once again, 1620 The Zone live January 26th from the American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska. For more details, listen to 1620 The Zone and visit cancer.org/pinkout.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, coming up a little bit later this week, we're going to have tickets to give away. I don't know if this is like embargoed, but he has announced it on his website. So Nate Bargatze is coming back to Omaha. So he'll be here February 9th at the Chai.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they say they're waiting until 10, Jimmy? He's already announced
no
it
idea.
on his website.
It's on his website.
Tour.
It's valid.
So he's coming.
He jumped the gun.
He's coming back to Omaha.
You know what?
And we'll have tickets giveaway on Friday.
Maybe it's 10 Eastern. So we just did. So
all right, there you go. Boom.
Oh, there it is.
Boom. There you go.
That's what they meant right there.
He's funny as F.
Yes.
And you'll enjoy it, and you'll have a chance to win tickets on Friday.
Yep. I'm going too. That's more of a draw right now. See me up.
that you're going
up in the cheap seats. Yeah.
Sit on your lap, take a picture.
Yeah. Laugh with me.
Hey, do you think Pink is milking the
Omaha?
love in Nebraska a little bit too much?
Why?
She played outdoors downtown.
Yeah. At one of the hottest days on record too, by the way.
She should have been here last week then.
And she still did all of her acrobatic
So I think
stuff.
once you go see her outside, and she put on an unbelievable show at the Chuck, she's coming back in October to PBA.
Yeah.
What? That's when you go
I think
outside
if you-
the Chuck.
I think if you, man, is that too soon?
No.
She is milking the money from Nebraska.
She's going from one venue in Omaha, and then she's going to the other. She's going to Capital City. You can't call it a year without visiting Capital City.
The streets should be snow-free by then.
Yeah.
We'll
Does
see.
she have does she have an album out? She got done something?
Maybe she does.
Once she put on the same show, I think if you've seen her outside, why would you go indoors to see her? Unless you're a diehard. I think it's a money grab of Nebraskans. I think we're way too nice to Pink.
Can't wait for the picture of the
I think if you went to an outdoor concert and you enjoyed it, don't go indoors.
Oh, whoa. So you're am I hearing you correctly? You're saying boycott Pink?
She was just here.
Well, maybe there were certain people who didn't want to go that night because it was so darn hot.
Then you're not a true Pink fan.
No, I'm just saying. It's a lot more comfortable indoors than it
He's
is
just
in
speaking up for
any
Pink
weather.
Nation.
I'd do anything for the Pink.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I'd do anything to go to the Pink concert. We could put that at the test.
Oh,
Have you been to a Pink concert?
No.
I have not either. I've heard it's a good show, though.
I don't have anything against her. I listen to her music.
Yeah. She's fine.
I just I was on vacation when she was here.
Would you have gone anyway? Even if you weren't?
I was actually someplace that was warmer.
You went to Taylor Swift though. That was kind of like the highlight of like the summer concerts.
I'd go to see Taylor Swift again.
And see her in Baltimore on Sunday.
Yeah.
Is she gonna be there?
Oh, she's fully vested now.
Are you sure?
Yeah. At this point, she's all in.
Oh, I'm triggered now.
I'd be
I'm not gonna
I'd
watch
be
that
shocked
game.
if she wasn't there. She'll be there.
She'll be in one of the
she'll be
fire trucks at the parade. Here
Well,
in 3
at
weeks.
this point, if you're a Chiefs fan, you want her
credit-
there because she's on a heater.
Credit to Pink and Taylor Swift. When they say they're going to start on time, if the show starts at 8, they start at 8.
You know who doesn't do that?
Madonna.
Lady Gaga.
No, Madonna's getting sued.
Oh, really?
So Madonna she's about 2 hours late, and it's intentional. Screw you.
Yeah, that's
Okay?
a bunch of
You're
crap.
an
Build
icon-
up.
You're an icon.
2 hours?
Hey,
They
but
give
don't
you
be
4 minutes.
Don't be doing that. My guys with Zach Brown Band, they learned their lesson. They have a countdown clock.
Which is awesome.
And once it hits 0, boom, the show starts. Okay? You don't go see Fiddler on the Roof down at the Orpheum, and the ticket says 7:30.
It starts at 9.
And at 8:45, they flick the lights on and off, and they're like, hey, now we're going to start. No. Why tick off your fans? If you're going to start at 7, like I don't go to a ball game and 7:05 first pitch,
like,
and all the mascots are on the field and these 4,000 first pitches, and there's just lollygagging around,
Guys
and
are
we
still
start
throwing,
at 7:37.
Guys still throwing in the outfield.
You're
playing long toss.
I expect tip-off tonight at PBA. I'm going to be in my seat. I tip off like 6:05. You're going to the game 7:30. It doesn't mean Creighton starts the game at 7:55.
They're not in layup lines as you sit down.
Hey, Mac, whenever you guys feel like coming out of the locker room, just let us know, and we'll let Fox know. And
you know what? And we're going to continue to get fans in the seats. So by the time we tip this thing off, we'll have every seat occupied. It'll be good. We'll build it up. We'll build it up.
Good for the people suing Madonna because she's always 2 hours late.
That's ridiculous. And so when my wife went to Lady Gaga, this was 2018-ish. I remember that was a big, like they loved the concert, but it wasn't 2 hours, but I know it was more than an hour. And
for no reason, like no weather,
nothing.
like that.
Nothing. There was no like malfunctions or anything. It was just sort of like a build up.
Oh, there ain't no build up.
Yeah,
my build up is I'm excited to come see you. So when it's time to play, let's play. Don't give me, we're having meet and greets in the back and all this stuff. And you know what? I got to get my voice. I got to have my green M&Ms. And, my rider doesn't have. No. For your fans, that's disrespectful. Tom Petty. Saw Tom Petty. Tom Petty was going on at 7. Tom Petty actually went on at 6:59. He didn't talk to the audience, and he played like for 2 hours straight. And I was like, I love you, man.
That's why those were the best shows.
Yeah.
I agree. It's very 2 hours. That's ridiculous.
So Pink and Taylor Swift, they start on time. Now, I get it if there's an opening act and you got to, and she had a big opening act when she played at the Chuck, I believe. So they have to, make a little transition, but they build that in. They don't tell you, all right, she's going on at 7. But I mean, it's the whole thing about the previews at movie theaters.
I love the countdown.
Yeah, that's what
everybody should do that.
So Zach Brown Band, their first major tour, they messed around. Like guys were partying backstage and they were slow to get to the stage, and Zach would get upset. This was told me by JD. And they were like, the next tour, because they heard it from their fans, the next tour, they're going to have a countdown clock.
Yep.
And when that clock gets to 0, the lights go off and the show starts. I'm like, great. Thank you. Thank you for being a fan. That's what they should do. We're a little late, but we'll get to BC.
Oh, she said, okay. So I had to text my wife and find out. She said 2 hours.
Yeah.
She said it was 2 hours.
I'd boo.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were pissed.
I'd boo.
They said it. And
it's a good thing that relationship with the Nebraskan didn't work out.
That's right. That's right. Springfield.
She probably has the same mindset about Nebraska that they do at UConn.
We were harvesting.
But she did shoot her video, out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Out where Warren Buffett lives, according to HBO.
Yep.
Out where the dirt roads and the corn is.
And she dated her Nebraska guy from Springfield.
Mm-hmm.
They still talk about
Wakes
that.
up at 3 a.m. every day to do chores.
He became famous for having a book about the liquid diet. And it was all booze.
Busch Light?
Amongst others.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jason Kelsey had.
That's how he
before
stayed.
the Labatt.
That's how he stayed.
But it didn't
trim.
change my opinion. I think Pink is
she's okay.
Well, she's good.
Oh
but
yeah,
I think she's milking the fans.
You're
here.
saying too soon.
Yeah. Like Nate is back. Nate was just here.
Oh, see, I missed him second time or first time around, so I'm getting the wraparound.
At least he's fun.
I'm getting the bounce back.
BC's next.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. Some heavier traffic on Dodge eastbound between 168th down to 156th. Other than that, no other accidents or slow-moving traffic to report as we get close to the 9 o'clock hour. Please be safe and remember to wear those seatbelts. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, everybody. I'm Peter Krenzer.
Time-Saving Traffic is brought to you by Omaha Transmission.
You've probably heard about Omaha Transmission saving people money. Call Omaha Transmission and see why people have been recommending them for almost 20 years.
Don't settle for normal when you deserve to feel exceptional. At Mentality Men's Health, we've consulted over 23,000 men who were told their testosterone levels were, quote, normal, despite feeling anything but. Remember, normal ranges can be as varied as the difference between an 18-year-old and a 90-year-old man. If fatigue, weight gain, or a lost drive have become your new normal, stop. Go to our website, schedule an appointment with Mentality today for a second opinion that could change your life. Join the thousands of men who found their true normal with us. Schedule in Omaha at lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com.
You can find pizza anywhere. But when you want pizza pie piled high with more toppings, that's when you come to my place, Godfather's Pizza. For a limited time, get your hands on 2 of my large one-topping pizzas. Pick pepperoni, beef, black olives, you choose. All this food for only $30. Feed your whole mob without breaking the bank. Hey, it's an offer you can't refuse. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
1620 The Zone is on location Friday, January 26th at American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska in support of the Creighton Pinkout Game, a free home away from home for cancer patients and caregivers. You can find details on 1620thezone.com and at cancer.org/pinkout.
Lowe's knows pros want savings now. That's why, as an MVP's Pro Rewards member, you get volume savings on orders of $1,500 or more at the Pro Desk. And there's more. We've lowered our prices on select top products like electrical wire and drywall, so you can get the job necessities for less. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. In-store only. Exclusions, restrictions, and more terms apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Creighton Sports Update. Hey, Blue Jay fans, it's basketball season here at Creighton. So get your tickets and come out and support your Blue Jays. For tickets, go to Ticketmaster.com, gocreighton.com/tickets, or visit the ticket office located at Ryan Athletic Center. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, tonight in Lincoln, Nebraska and Ohio State. Another big game for Nebraska. We welcome in from Husker 24/7, Brian Christopherson. Good morning, BC.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good.
How about those Lions?
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hey, are you enjoying it yet, though? Are you at least enjoying it a little bit right now?
Don't. Hey, don't listen to him over there, okay? All right.
Come on.
I want to keep this happy. If we're going to talk about the teams you root for, BC, how awesome is it that Joe Mauer is probably going to get a phone call today to go to the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, that is awesome. I have a Joe Mauer jersey. It's one of only 2 jerseys I own with somebody's name on it. So that's how much I'm committed to Joe. Along with Kirby had his issues later in life, but Kirby Puckett was like the first big twin for me as a kid, but then Joe was right there with him. And I remember Joe for a variety of things. One of them was in his prime, the year when he was threatening 400 for a while. The Twins were, I believe, were in the playoff chase, and there was a Saturday game. The Royals were not good, but Greinke was on the mound. And he had like a 14-pitch at bat against Greinke and kept fouling him off. And then he hit one down the line, inside out swing for a double that kind of put them over the top. I always remember that at bat. And I remember his commercial for the show, which I thought was one of the best commercials for the show.
Oh, yeah, the Duluth,
remember it.
The Duluth Putt-and Hut. Ladies' night at the Duluth Putt-and Hut.
No, I remember the one where he had the picture on that guy, the guy who kind of was the other part of the show, play the deadpan character.
Well played.
Oh, well played,
Yeah.
Mauer. Yeah. That one was good.
He's like, why do I have pictures of you in Cabo? So I think he gave us that when the show was starting to pick up ground as a video game, and then his batting average. Yes, he belongs in the Hall for those reasons.
Yeah. So that commercial I saw filmed because they filmed that in January in Fort Myers.
The well played Mauer one.
Yeah.
Okay. That was good.
So there's so many things, and I've said this. I got to know the Mauers, Joe and Jake, in my time with the Twins. Joe's final home run was a grand slam against the Yankees. It was on a 3-2 count. It was the only time he swung on the at bat. But I want to give you something as a Twins fan. So we expect Joe to go in. How about this list, BC? This would be the lineup of Hall of Famers for the Twins. Joe Mauer at catcher, Jim Tomei at first, Rod Carew at second, Paul Molitor, we're going to put him at short because he did make 50-plus starts at short in the majors. Harmon Killebrew at third. Winfield, Puckett, Oliva is your outfield. David Ortiz would be your designated hitter, and your first four would be Blyleven, Jack Morris, Jim Cott, and Steve Carlton.
Oh, Bert Blyleven.
Yeah, I mean, we're stealing a few guys there who weren't with us for the whole way.
Probably Steve Carlton isn't known as a Twin.
Yeah, but nonetheless, I like that. They were all Twins at one point. We signed them this year, and that's a good roster in their prime. So I would take that any day. And Joe, by the way, if they had been a little smarter with how they placed the left field fences at Target Field and put them in like 5 feet closer, he would have had like 40, 50 more home runs. He always hit it to the warning track at Target Field, and then would get caught 2 feet from the wall.
So you brought up Kirby and Joe Mauer as far as the top two Twins. Where's Dan Gladden fall into that group too? I mean, come on, you gotta give a little Danny Gladden some love too.
Yeah, I like the Dazzle Man. He works on the play-by-play crew for the radio team too, so I get a good dose of him in the summer while I'm mowing the lawn, and everybody likes him. Kent Herbeck though is probably up there because I believe Kent Herbeck.
Well, he had a dirty play in that World Series, by the way.
I think he pulled guys off the bag twice in World Series games and got away with it because one time I was with my brother at a Twins game in St. Louis, and I had a Herbeck T-shirt shirt on, and a guy behind me is like, dirty player, Cardinals fan. I was like, no, that was against the Braves. That was against the Braves where he pulled like Brian Hunter or somebody off. It wasn't against the Cardinals, and I was very like defensive about it. And then I went back, and I think he actually kind of was involved in a play with the Cardinals in the '87 series where there was not maybe to that degree, but maybe pulled the guy a little bit off. And so, whatever, you got to do what you got to do to win when it's crunch time.
That's true.
You know the other thing about Joe, and he's he's probably the biggest star I've ever had a chance to be around on a regular basis. He's the most genuine person. I saw how hard he worked. One of my duties before spring training got going is I would get to the ballpark early and make the rounds just to make sure everything was okay. Nobody got broken into, anything like that. And there was one morning I had to go to the ballpark early because there was a local TV station, Fort Myers, was doing a news hit, and I was being interviewed. And I was at the ballpark like at 5 a.m, and down underneath the stadium in the hitting tunnels, I could hear somebody hitting. And I'm like, whoa, this is awful early because it's still like 3 weeks before players, pitchers, and catchers report. It was Joe. Joe was in there hitting off the machine. But you know what? Another thing, he was, as a senior at Cretin-Durham Hall in St. Paul, he was the #1 overall player in baseball, but also in football. Remember, he had committed to play quarterback at Florida State.
Yep, and there was a lot of pressure on the Twins whether to pick him first or not as a hometown kid and all that stuff. But I would say he delivered, and he dealt with a lot too. I mean, whenever things went a little sideways or there was a little slump with the team, it was always sort of placed on his shoulders up there, being the hometown guy. But yeah, he did an amazing job. I saw also Gary Sheffield is close on the ballot, and this is a segment for you guys. Who has the most frightening? You don't have to talk about this now, but you can do it sometime when you need it. Like, who has the most frightening bat waggle? Where you're like worried as an opposing fan that guy's about to crush the ball and just drain my spirits right now with the home run to left field. Gary Sheffield was near the top of my list on that answer.
And if for some reason he let go of the bat, that thing was going to wind up in like the upper tier of a stadium too. Yeah. We all tried to. I was telling Gary earlier, like we all tried to emulate that swing growing up because we thought, oh man, he's doing that. And then maybe we pick up a wiffle ball bat, like this isn't too hard. Then you pick up a regular bat, like, oh, you got to be really strong. Your forearms have to be really jacked to probably even be able to pull like half of that off.
Yeah, batting stance guy who is all over YouTube has a great Gary Sheffield. That and his Ken Griffey Jr. are perfect. It's also interesting because Todd Helton more than likely will go in. So Helton actually played quarterback in college as the guy with Peyton Manning. And then
Tennessee,
and then Joe Mauer going in. Let's talk about basketball real quick. Your gut says, what do they do with Juwan Gary tonight if he's available to play?
My gut's been wrong on these ones, so it doesn't matter. I think it's like 50-50. He's really been progressing well since then. I think it's all going to be sort of like today when he goes and works out in the shoot around, but he didn't go up and down the full court yesterday. It was all half court stuff for him. I sort of thought, even when the good news was kind of coming out Friday, that maybe he'd miss one more game. So I guess I'll stick with that, but I'm not real sure about that. I thought Bryce Williams was not going to play that one night a couple weeks ago, and then he went out and was a baller. It was against Purdue, I guess. And almost got a double-double or triple-double, whatever it was. So, if Juwan does play, I would think there would be a curb on his minutes to some degree, but if he can give you 15 to 20 tonight, considering where we were like 6 days ago when we first saw him and it looked like something popped and you're like, oh man, that feels really bad and almost season ending. Like, this has been a huge development for Nebraska. And I really think Sam Hoiberg talked about this yesterday. When those guys on the team heard the news the day after, like, it's not as bad as it seems, might miss a game or two, but he's going to be around for the long haul. I think it was a huge boost for this team mentally after just a dejecting loss at Rutgers. It kind of lifted them up, and they got the win on Saturday. Now you just got to keep protecting the vault because it gets no easier on the road. I looked at the schedule just before I came on again and refreshed myself. And if you look at Nebraska's setup, once they get to February 10th, there's a nice opening there to really finish strong with some of the home games. Like, they play Michigan twice, who's scuffling, and obviously one's at PBA. They host Rutgers again, so they can try to get payback there. They host Minnesota. It's set up for them with like 4 or 5 games where you would say they're definitely the favorite in those final 7. But before that, after this Ohio State game, you go to Maryland on Saturday, then you play home against Wisconsin, and you have this very challenging schedule with Illinois on the road after that. And so tonight, to me, is huge to get your head above the surface again, above 500. Not that you're playing with house money then. They can't look at it that way, but you guys know how different it feels like if they're 5-4 as opposed to 4-5, and then you're going on the road. So this one's giant. There's nothing sneaky about it being a big game. It just is a big game, I think.
Well, and BC, I know part of the conversation, and I think you asked a question or two about probably the bigger part of the matchup tonight, and that being not necessarily what Nebraska saw in the Rutgers game with having the bigs and the physicality, but having kind of that unique presence of physical guard play too between Thornton and, obviously Nebraska's seen battle from Minnesota, but also in Gale Jr. as well. Is this where this is going to be kind of a different look for Nebraska with how they defend that type of guard play and what they're going to want to do?
Yeah, a little bit. Thornton really impresses me because he's just like that dude who's so strong on the ball and he's just built, and I remember last year, Ohio State kind of scuffled through the season, but they were figuring it out sort of late. And they were at the Big Ten tournament. They were playing the game against Wisconsin right before Nebraska took the floor. So we were, on the front row or whatever, waiting. And Ohio State beat Wisconsin in that game. And Thornton just impressed the heck out of me. And it's one of those things where sometimes you see something in person and it just sort of maybe sticks with you more than other things. And I have always thought Ohio State's going to be a lot better this year. Thornton's going to be a bear to deal with in this league, and he's averaging like 16 a game. So, yeah, they're going to have to really do a strong team defensive effort. Sammy Hoiberg's going to have a night where he's the pest that he can be, and he is very efficient at that, and he's been successful, but he's got to do it again. He did it against Northwestern very well, and actually Sam probably doesn't get enough credit or enough mention for what he means to this team sometimes. But I mean, the job they did on Boo Buie in that game against Northwestern to hold him to 9 points, and he only made 2 shots. I mean, that's one of the best players in this league. So can they just frustrate those Ohio State guards to some degree like that? If they can, they'll have a very good chance, because I do think Nebraska's offense gives opponents a lot of problems. And I know there's been these scoring droughts the last 2 games, like against Northwestern, they went 6 minutes where they didn't score. And, the previous game at Rutgers, there was that 9-minute drought. So they've had those kind of pop up suddenly that you want to do away with, but they still shot 55%, against Northwestern. And I think if they can just avoid that drought in this game on the offensive end, they'll get theirs there. It's just, can they bring the defensive edge that it always seems to be the settling factor with this team?
Hey, let me let's shift to football here. So you've got the school started yesterday. Early enrollees are here. They got 17 high school guys. They got the 6 portal guys. So there's 23 that will be on the roster come the fall that will be here, and I think that's a huge advantage for Nebraska. I keep hearing the word under the radar, and you and I have talked about Ja'Cory Barney, who still gets labeled under the radar. How does a guy lose that tag? Because the more I look at him and his place on this roster, I think that guy can't be under the radar. We get guys that show up and they're like, well, that's a Rule under the radar recruit. What's that definition mean in the Matt Rule era? Under the radar.
I don't know. We use it pretty liberally, I think, don't we?
Yeah.
I do. I mean, we probably at some point label like 95% of the roster under the radar,
or a project guy.
Yeah. But Barney has been described that way. That's a very fair question. And I don't know why exactly, because I don't think this staff ever really viewed him that way. And more importantly, Ja'Cory Barney does not view himself as an under-the-radar prospect. If you ever talk to him, he's a very confident guy. He expects to contribute this year. Talked to him just a couple of weeks ago before he got on campus, and that was the plan. And he was monitoring Nebraska's. This was before Raiola was definitely in the fold, but he was monitoring what they were going to do at QB and was really hyped about it. And he kept saying, "Just give me a QB or two, and we're gonna do some things. We'll have the material." He totally believed in it, and he believes in himself. So if you look at his production and his speed and some of the numbers he's put out, he doesn't take a backseat, I think, to any of the receiver recruits they've brought in, and he's not that far behind other guys in that room as far as proving yourself. Now, maybe learning the system and that stuff, it's obviously was a huge deal for Jalen and Malachi and Jaden and all those guys, Demetrius, to go through it last year and learn behind the scenes. But that's why he's an early enrollee, Barney, to catch up with that. And as far as actual game reps and like making big plays, he's a few behind Coleman and Lloyd, but not many behind the other guys. So I know he sees an opportunity to contribute with the depth chart the way it is. Obviously, the 2 veteran receivers change the mix, but those guys who were recruited at receiver, they knew that Nebraska was going to go in the portal after at least 1 veteran, if not 2. The coaching staff was very transparent with them about that. So that didn't sneak up and surprise anybody.
And speaking of the wide receivers, you made me think about this too, with the 3 that we saw as freshmen last year. And I know Doss still has his red shirt, but between Doss and then Lloyd and Malachi Coleman, given the quarterback that they have now with Dylan Raiola, who do you think benefits the most from that quarterback in this following year and taking a step forward?
I guess if I'm just to give one answer, I'm going to say like a Jalen Lloyd. And the reason I say that is I'm just going to get to the thing that I think is the difference with Raiola is that big arm. And I believe the consistency he can maybe have with it. You talk to enough analysts who have watched Raiola up close during his high school career, he has one of the better big arms of prospects they've covered. I mean, they just feel that way. And I'm not just talking about having a competition and throwing a 72-yard ball. I'm talking about like you got to put that one, on a guy 45 yards down the field or 30 or whatever it is. And he feels pretty good about what he can do there. And so I think a guy like Jalen who can stretch the field, that's going to be really exciting to him. I think the same you would say for Malachi and his speed. So the thing about that question, though, Nick, and this is where it can be exciting for Husker fans, and you can have hope, is there's 3 or 4 guys who have the speed to run past people.
Yeah.
Like, these coaches are very strong in their stance that they think they have like the fastest wide receiver room in the country. And I don't think that's just a lot of big talk. I think they're very much up there in that conversation. When you start to look at the track times and some of the guys they have, all those guys can fly. So I don't know that there's an easy answer as far as how I'm answering the question, because they can all run past people. But Jalen Lloyd obviously proved last year he can definitely do that. And the idea of Raiola hitting him on a few more of those next season, I think is a nice thing to envision for Husker fans.
Hey, what'd you think of him on Friday night?
Yeah, I thought it was fine. Those All-Star games are so like choppy because they've only been with each other for like 4 or 5 days, and you don't know exactly what the other person's doing sometimes. And like on the one, he had an interception where it's like, I didn't know if it slipped out of his hand or if the guy didn't run the right route.
Yeah.
You just don't know on those sort of deals. But I thought he made enough throws within there where you saw the difference. And I'll tell you what, he looked way better than the other QBs on his team, I thought.
Yeah.
So I think that was good. When he hit Mike Matthews, the prized Tennessee recruit, across the middle for the touchdown, that was a pretty rope he threw there, 20 yards down the field. Made it look easy, but it's not as easy as it seemed. And I liked the combination he had with Carter. I know there was the throw everybody got excited about. You had the funny tweet about the 32-yard pass, and let's not go overboard with it. And of course we will. But I also like, there's a little fun run pass option play where he rolls down the left end of the line and he flips it to Carter, and Carter barrels his way for 11 yards inside the 5. And that's the type of play you see it. You're like, oh yeah, I could picture that in September or October. So I thought he played fine, and I thought Carter Nelson in his 2 All-Star games showed, if there was anybody, and I wasn't one of them, but if there was anybody who's like, okay, 8-man guy, let's see, can you hang with these dudes? Yeah, he can. He's fine. It's just more guys for him to try to run through, it seemed like, and he seems to like that.
Hey, I don't know if you know the answer to this or not, but Ed wants to know, why did 24/7 drop Dylan Raiola in the rankings yesterday?
Yeah, well, they moved him from 2 to 7 overall is what the question's about. I have no say in the rankings at all. So I don't know the whole reasoning. I guess what I'd say to it, though, is if you're anywhere in the top 30, you're thought to be a freak player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's sort of like, picking your favorite $150 cologne, or I'm just using a bad example. They all smell
Man,
good
how much you
enough.
spend on
It's not-
cologne?
Yeah, well, just not usually, but I was trying to think of something off the top of my head, but they all smell pretty good. I'm going to assume for $150. So, like if you're 2 or 7, I wouldn't get too worried about it. I get it. I was a little disappointed myself. He dropped because I was so used to writing the number 2 player overall and all that, but I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. I'm sure Raiola isn't.
Hey, we appreciate it as always. We'll see you tonight. Look forward to your coverage of Nebraska, Ohio State.
All right, thanks, guys.
That's Brian Christopherson. So look at that. You get recruited by Nebraska, you commit to Nebraska, and you drop in the rankings.
Yep.
I don't think that's the case. I don't think you get a bump when you commit to Nebraska like you do when you get Ohio State, Georgia type attention.
Yeah. I don't think you plummet either if you go to Nebraska. It was that interception. That's what it was. Bad throw. They've docked him.
It's just the explanation, the elevation of the guy that is the number 1 quarterback was because of his ceiling is higher, which is kind of interesting, but you're still top 30. And, if you walk in the door top 30, shouldn't you leave as one of the top 30 college football players in the game by the end of your career?
Damn right.
Isn't that how it's worked?
Damn right you should. Depends on which school you're going to and who is in charge of developing you too.
Nelson and Bricks also dropped.
Gosh, come on, Nebraska.
Rule is slipping. I thought he made some progress. See, what else is slipping is Nebraska is losing their hold on the offseason championship. Ohio State has got the lead. Iowa made a little bit of noise.
Caden Proctor.
Still have time.
I don't know. I think they've.
Although does the tampering allegations now affect the Caden Proctor thing?
I don't know. We might be back on like the whole Iowa DCI that had a warrantless search. If I'm Noah Shannon, I'll represent you.
Yeah.
I'll just take whatever we're going to take from the state of Iowa.
Yeah.
Just call me up. I don't have a law degree, but I've watched a lot of law shows like
Yeah.
Law and Order. So I think I know what to do.
You can conduct yourself in court if you have to.
Joe Pesci and I've studied him. I'd be okay in court.
The two Utes.
We got the Ute over here who should have played, but he didn't play.
Excuse me, two.
I'm sorry, did you just say Utes?
Mr. Gambini.
That's
What is a Ute?
a little shady. The people in Iowa are a little shady.
Yeah.
Plays for Kyle Whittingham.
The alleged warrantless search. Now, athletes knew what they're doing. They broke the rules. But here's the thing. Not just athletes. There were some people I know in the Iowa State Athletic Department lost their job because of this.
Oh.
That they were not athletes. They were athletic department officials and they lost their job.
Yikes.
Those are the people that should be like, yeah, Judge Judy, I'm going to be coming before you pretty soon here. All right, 35 past the hour. We'll back run through some emails and some tweets and why Adrian Beltre might be a 99% guy. What is going on? That is reserved for
George Pratt.
Mariano Rivera. And now Adrian Beltre is going to do really, really well today. Back with that on Hall of Fame Day in 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. The Connor Happer Show.
Had a bad experience, Josh. Would you like to talk about it?
In high school, I had a girlfriend who was trying to change my appearance to be more like Harry Potter. I don't know what tipped me off.
You were like, are you trying to Harry Potterize me?
I don't know if those were the exact words, but that was pretty much the beginning of the end for that.
Wow, what a time.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
A light wintry mix possible Tuesday morning. Watch out for slick spots during the AM drive. Otherwise, expect areas of fog throughout the day. Cloudy with highs in the low to mid 30s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Since 1972, family-owned and locally roasted Host Coffee Service has been roasting the finest coffee for businesses and restaurants. If you're ready to change to a better coffee provider, it's time for Host Coffee.
Omaha's best coffee since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
It's time to make good on those New Year's fitness resolutions by becoming a member at Croc Center Omaha. We've got a full range of fitness activities, free weights, Zumba classes, an indoor water park, pickleball courts, and much more. And right now is the perfect time to join. Sign up before the end of February and you can start your membership for just $1. Plus, we'll waive the registration fee. The Croc Center is just moments away from the Kennedy Freeway and Q Street. Go to omahacroc.org for more information. That's omahakroc.org.
The GOAT is coming to Kansas City. Sporting KC will host Inter Miami and Lionel Messi, the greatest of all time, at the loudest stadium in the world. See Johnny Russell, Alan Pulido, and the rest of your hometown team take on Messi, Luis Suarez, and more at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium on Saturday, April 13th. It's the soccer capital of America, versus the greatest of all time. Get your tickets while you still can at sportingkc.com.
Hey guys, it's Nick Handley for Hims. You know, we spend time worrying about things that we feel are a big deal and no one else is experiencing. Well, I'm here to tell you that when it comes to problems in the bedroom, anxiety, depression, or if you're looking to take better care of your health in general, it's not uncommon at all. In fact, 52% of men over 40 experience some form of ED, and male pattern hair loss affects about 50% of men by the age of 50. If you want to regrow your hair, have better sex, or tackle anxiety and depression, you don't have to go to the doctor, the pharmacy, or spend all day talking about it. Just go to hims.com and do something about it. And since it's online, that means no doctor's offices and no pharmacies, just solutions that can bring real results. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/start. That's hims.com/start for your free online visit. HIMS.com/START. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information.
The Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Email me, Connor Happer, with the Connor Happer Show at Connor, CONNOR, at 1620thezone.com. Send me your love, your hate, and maybe a few hot takes. The Zone Inbox, presented by Equitable Bank.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Glad people are connecting Josh Allen and Phillip Rivers together.
It's a damn good comparison. But you know what I saw yesterday? Because we can put the conversation to bed about the Mahomes versus Allen, Manning versus Brady type thing. Now we're shifting towards Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. Is that going to be the
They're
new
just desperate to come up.
Manning, Brady? Yeah, it was funny how it shifted all of a sudden. Well, this may never happen for Allen. So let's focus on this weekend's conference championship game and put Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes in the next possible Brady versus Manning.
You know the last three quarterbacks that Mac Jones has beaten in the postseason? Mac Jones, Skylar Thompson, and Mason Rudolph.
Ooh, those are good players.
Regular season record at the same point in their career. Phillip Rivers, 46-18. Josh Allen, 48-18. Both made 4 appearances in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers, playoff record 3-4. Josh Allen, 5-4. AFC championships, each had 1. Divisional round, each had 4. You would think Josh Allen's won Super Bowls.
How many kids is Josh Allen looking to have?
I believe he's still single.
Yeah.
Maybe Belichick.
He needs to jump on that.
There's a lot of smoke today about McDermott making a move and that Belichick would come in Buffalo.
Same climate, same colors.
Yeah, that'd go over in New England. Stay in the division.
Yeah, right there in the division.
Have a better team. Now,
that would stick it to Robert Kraft.
Here's the thing about the AFC.
Bills.
And I think about this with Mahomes. So Mahomes is 28. Very few guys have gone 3 straight playoff games without being sacked or throwing an interception. So Mahomes is playing the good guy / villain. And now he gets to try and do it against Lamar Jackson. I wouldn't want to be a quarterback in the AFC, and I'm searching for a ring. Look at all of the really good young quarterbacks in the AFC that are still on the rookie quarterback contract, and then you add in Burrow, you add in Mahomes, you add in Lamar, you add in Josh Allen, you got Aaron Rodgers, who is going to give it one more go. Aaron Rodgers. The Patrick Mahomes career is actually what Aaron Rodgers' career was supposed to be.
Yes.
If you are like Caleb Williams, you're salivating. You might not want to go to Chicago in a bad football team of late.
Hey!
But you are in the NFC. Look at the NFC. So Washington needs a quarterback. The Giants need a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the AFC and you want to win a title, man, you got to go with the Tom Brady plan. Brady was smart. Get the hell out of the AFC. The quarterbacks there are difficult to beat.
Just have one game against them.
Kansas City, winning a Super Bowl is going to get tougher for Kansas City because the quarterbacks, and I'm naming C.J. Stroud, throw him in there.
Yep.
But I'll go to the NFC.
You didn't throw in Russell Wilson. What the hell?
He doesn't have a team.
Yeah.
I'll go to the NFC because you know what? My path to a Super Bowl, just like Brady, is a lot easier. All these young quarterbacks,
okay, think
in
of
the AFC and the established quarterbacks, it's going to get tougher to win a Super Bowl out of the, or even make a Super Bowl out of the AFC.
Think of the best teams in the NFC right now. Okay, for instance, the championship game right now between the Niners and the Lions. Look, I've made a 180 on Goff, but is anybody saying that is an elite? Are we putting him in the elite category? No. Brock Purdy's not asked to be that way, but is Brock Purdy? No. Look at Dallas. The jury is still way out. I mean, Jimmy, you can weigh on this, but Dak Prescott.
Way out and tell you, you're not going anywhere. Same coach, but yep, continue.
You know, you look down.
Philly be back.
Down the road there. I mean, Baker Mayfield in Tampa. Carr in New Orleans. Maybe, just maybe, and this pains me to say, the most exciting, promising quarterback right now, currently in the NFC, with the ceiling that he's now shown he has, is Jordan Love.
I mean,
your point
Jordan
stands.
Love's going to be there. Yeah. The AFC. And
go to the NFC.
Throw in Tua. Like Miami's
Right.
looking at this and going, okay, is our guy good enough to beat Lamar, beat Patrick, beat Aaron, on and on
Just
and
to
on.
get to the Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
so it's getting to the Super Bowl out of the AFC is going to continue to be difficult. That's why maybe the NFC shifts, because they've got they got three teams that need quarterbacks that are drafting high. And so all of a sudden you could have Williams, May, and Daniels are playing in the NFC.
It's true. If Cincinnati comes back, which I think they will next year, theoretically, just those four teams right there, Cincinnati, Buffalo, Baltimore, Kansas City, that's your final four. That's your divisional round. You're not even getting to the championship, two of those guys.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even, just because since he's been away and has now suffered a season-ending injury this year, I mean, there's still something to say about Deshaun Watson when surrounded by a pretty good team as well.
Yeah,
I wouldn't close it on
I'm
him.
good on Deshaun Watson. I don't think we're doing anything there.
If he's healthy, I'm still curious to see what that looks like. I'm not necessarily openly rooting for him.
Wasn't he healthy for part of this year?
Yeah, he was. And
Yeah,
it wasn't great.
Joe Flacco was a better quarterback healthy than Deshaun Watson was.
They'd even take Brian Sipe.
It might be a stretch.
Leave Bernie out.
Are we throwing Trevor Lawrence in that
Tim
category
Couch.
of look out for?
Trevor Lawrence is not one of the elite quarterbacks.
I
in
would
the
not put him
AFC.
elite, no. But is there room to grow there? Is he
got a good coach.
Is he still like, yeah, exactly.
I don't
Doug
know.
Peterson.
I'm not as high as other people are on Trevor Lawrence in the NFL. Like, he may have already tapped his ceiling.
That's what I'm wondering. If he's at that ceiling, I don't know if there's more there. But
there's all these,
I like the way
there's
that
all
he's
these rookie- there's
like
all
Jimmy.
these
You brought up the key
quarterbacks in
thing.
the
Who
AFC
he's
that
paired
are
with.
on these rookie contracts.
Mhm.
That the window is kind of open. But if you're getting to the Super Bowl now out of the AFC, I mean, if Patrick Mahomes, if Kansas City continues on a run where they're getting there as frequent as they are, I mean, that's ridiculous. Because it's going to get more and more difficult. Like,
this
look
year
at Buffalo.
alone.
Buffalo's got some big decisions. Buffalo's cap space is awful. They're an older defense. They don't know about McDermott. And Josh Allen is thinking, all right, am I good enough to beat all those other quarterbacks in the AFC?
I mean, you can, but you're going to need some help.
Yeah,
Even down to the kicker. Kansas City has a kicker, and if they would have tied that game the other night, my money's still on Mahomes to get Butker into 50 yards or so.
And I know you brought up Joe Burrow, but it is great to have this conversation, talking about the quarterbacks that have emerged and that are so solid in the AFC. And yet then we're talking about the playoffs and how we've seen quarterback play, really kind of hold true in the playoffs, and no mention of Joe Burrow because of his season-ending injury. There's a guy that I would be a little nervous, maybe not Kansas City because you guys don't fear old Joe Burrow, but around the AFC having to deal with
I fear Joe Burrow. He
having to deal
went
with
into
him.
Arrowhead and beat Kansas City to go to the Super Bowl.
Well, maybe you don't want to admit it.
No, I'm
you're
okay admitting it.
I
Joe
feel like
Burrow's a threat.
I feel like next year, especially for a guy that when we always look at the chip on the shoulder and he's always kind of played that way and with that edge, being able to come back from the injury too, to kind of remind everyone about him, like Joe Burrow, like the Rage Tour next year could be something to see. Like that, I almost expect him to have his best year as a pro to date in 2024. He's a guy that's he's gonna come out wanting to prove, and he's equipped to do so as well. I just think if there are people that are pissed off not being a part of this conversation and being a part of the playoffs right now, I don't think it gets it anybody worse than it does Joe Burrow right now.
All right, we'll come back, put a wrap on this show. Again, double dose of hoops tonight. Nebraska goes at 6 here on the Zone. Creighton is in action at 7:30. Jimmy will grace the airways from 6 to 7.
Like that'd be a good time.
And we'll talk a lot about Officials Appreciation Week.
Yeah. Got to balance it out.
Can you guys get?
Wouldn't that be
can
great?
you get Higgy on the show on the pregame?
That'd be great if Bishop took a picture with the 3 officials working the night.
That actually would be
pointing at him.
Oh yeah,
But maybe not the other point.
We'll see on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
Rock from the darker side. Disturbed live. Take Back Your Life Tour, January 29th. CHI Health Center Arena. New album, Divisive, available now. With special guest, Falling in Reverse. And Plush. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Disturbed live.
Some days, my active psoriatic arthritis makes it hard to get in the game. Now, the ball is in my court, thanks to treating my skin and joints with Skyrizi, Risankizumab Rizin, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults.
Nothing is everything.
Skyrizi helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
If you're looking to get a new car, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive. Sure, you love your old car, but you know it's not normal to give instructions on how to open the window. It should be self-explanatory, but it's not. And notice how when you're in other people's cars, you can feel cushion in the seats? That's pretty nice, right? No, it's just normal. So bundle your renters and car insurance with Progressive and put the savings toward a new car. It's time. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Do you want more control over your business spending? Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management platform designed to save you time and money. Ramp offers unlimited corporate cards with spend controls you can customize to stop wasteful spending before it happens. Ramp makes expense reports a breeze by automatically collecting receipts and matching them to the right transaction. You'll close your books in hours instead of days. Ramp allows you to see all of your company spend in one place, so you can make quick, informed decisions about your business finances. Plus, Ramp will share insights based on your spending to help you cut costs. Over 15,000 businesses have added up to 5% to their bottom line with Ramp. You can be one of them. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, so today is Hall of Fame Day. I think Beltre is a lock. Didn't strike me when he was playing as a 99% guy, but he might be a 99% guy. Thought he would hit more home runs for a guy that had that long a career, but he could pick it at third.
I remember his buildup when he came up to San Antonio, moving up the Dodgers organization. And so I always rooted for him because they said, well, this guy's going to be the next big thing. And when he turned out to have a really good career, I was like, all right, they said he'd be a big thing.
Yeah, once he left the Dodgers, man, his career took, like Boston and Texas, he took off. He was there were times where he's the best third baseman in the game. So he is worthy of the Hall of Fame. It's just timing is everything. That number is monstrous on all the ballots because there aren't a lot of like, whoa, okay, he's the only slam dunk. I think Billy Wagner has to wait another year, and then next year becomes a priority. And the ballot is less because a Beltray, a Maurer, a Helton would come off of it.
Yeah.
So it gives you better opportunity.
Frees up some space.
But I think it's I think it's just three. I think it's Beltray, Maurer, and Todd Helton all go in.
So if he's to trend where he is, George Brett is currently the highest third baseman, 98%. Chipper Jones, 97. Mike Schmidt, 96. So Adrian Beltre would be in pretty good company there too when it comes to the percentage.
One of those guys would tell you to avoid the crab legs at the Bellagio.
I put in a prediction in a crystal ball and a thing I'm in. I did Beltre 97.6%. That's crazy.
So then if that happens, he's just behind George Brett in front of Chipper Jones.
Mm-hmm. And then there'll be a discussion probably about where Andrew Jones is trending as a possible Hall of Famer.
Isn't he close?
He's still a little bit away.
Okay. And this would be how many times for Andrew Jones now?
What are we at? 6?
Okay.
Baseball Hall of Fame's weird. And you say Andrew Jones right away, I'm like, dude.
Well, that's what that I always do this. I do this game.
Andrew
like Carlos
Jones.
Beltran. Will Carlos Beltran now start to trend a little bit towards the, get closer to 75%? He was on it last year. Got what, 40? Is he in the 40s? 40%? I think?
Yeah. Upper 40s, yeah. I don't know.
Some really good players.
See, when you think of it, like you mentioned Andrew Jones, like you think of a guy that will get there. Like it's just more of a matter of when he will get there.
No, it's all about who's on the ballot with you.
Yeah.
Guys are going to come off after this year. It'll open it up. Like Billy Wagner will go into the Hall of Fame next year.
You get 3, and especially because it's going to happen today where you get Todd Helton as a third, you get 3 off of there, then because what's the class next year?
Ichiro, CC, Pedroia, Felix Hernandez is on there. Ichiro might rival Mariano.
I agree.
In terms of percentage.
Yeah.
And he's the highest ever. All right, that's coming up later today. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about basketball tonight. Red and blue are in action. We'll see what the temp is tomorrow.
All wins. Huskers 62-58 tonight.
Oh, low scoring affair.
I think that'll be a rock fight. Which will play into the hands of both teams.
Yeah.
I will say.
Home team.
We'll do that tomorrow when we're back again at 6.